The royal palace is known for its secrecy, but a surprising announcement has shaken everything. No one, even the longtime royal watchers, could have anticipated this event. A brief statement appeared on the royal family's official website, declaring that an important announcement would be made at 6 p.m. No details, no hints, just a mysterious silence. For a family that always plans meticulously, the lack of information left everyone stunned. What do you think about this change? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget, if you've heard similar news from friends or family, share it with us. If you think this announcement will lead to big changes, drop a 1, and if not, leave a 0 in the comments. Enjoy the video and make sure to hit subscribe to support the channel. As soon as the announcement was posted, the media went into a frenzy. Reporters made non-stop calls, desperately trying to find answers, but no one had a clue. Numerous theories began to spread, from health issues of a royal family member to the possibility of someone stepping down or taking on a new role. Some of the ideas seemed far-fetched, but others were credible enough to raise concern. The silence from the palace only added to the tension, acting as a sign that something serious was unfolding. That morning, Prince William and Princess Kate unexpectedly missed a scheduled public event. At first, this seemed unremarkable, but after the royal announcement, their absence became the focal point of attention. Many began to wonder if this was a sign of something bigger at play. If the message came from the king or queen, why hadn't they spoken directly? This oddity only fueled public curiosity and suspicion. Beneath their calm exterior, Prince William and Princess Kate seemed to be executing a carefully calculated strategy. Close sources revealed that this move was not just a royal duty, but also a way to strengthen their position. This wasn't an accident. It was a deliberate step. The palace appeared ready to face significant changes, and the couple was at the heart of it all. Amidst the line of instability, the royal family is also focusing on long-term goals. A source revealed that they are seeking 50 solutions over the next decade to tackle environmental challenges with hopes of transforming how the world confronts crises. If successful, this would mark a turning point not only for the royal family but for the entire globe. This commitment shows that they are not just focused on internal drama, but also aiming to create a positive impact. Though turmoil surrounds them, family bonds remain an irreplaceable part of their lives. A royal family member shared that, despite the many hardships and misunderstandings over the years, the love between the siblings is still deep. There is no intention to hurt the family, but the truth must be revealed to bring peace. This statement acts as a ray of hope, showing that despite the upheaval, the royal family is still striving to heal their wounds. In the end, loyalty to the king, the country, and prosperity remained at the forefront. A royal family member declared their unwavering commitment to serve, offering blessings for the king. Despite the palace facing unprecedented challenges, the sense of responsibility and belief in the future remained the guiding principles that helped them navigate through the storm. At exactly 6 p.m., the spotlight didn't fall on King Charles or Queen Camilla, as everyone had expected. Instead, Prince William and Princess Kate appeared on screen. There was no lavish royal backdrop, no throne or guards, just the two of them sitting in a simple room, almost like a regular office. However, their presence immediately captured the nation's attention. They didn't need any fanfare to prove their influence. Prince William spoke first, bypassing the usual royal formalities. His voice was clear and firm. The monarchy is not just a symbol, but a responsibility. This statement was like a breath of fresh air, signaling a bold direction yet not rebellion. It was a commitment to a more approachable monarchy, ready to face modern challenges. His sincerity captivated the public, making it impossible for them to look away. Princess Kate followed her demeanor calm, yet resolute. "This is not a story about tradition," she said, "but about trust." With just a few words, she reshaped the royal family's image in the eyes of the public. Not demanding blind loyalty, they offered honesty, a rare value in a world filled with secrecy. Kate's words were not just a statement, but a promise of a different future. Notably, there was no sign of King Charles or Queen Camilla at this event. William and Kate stood alone, but they represented a larger vision. The absence of the senior royals only highlighted the couple's role even more. They were not just heirs, but pioneers ready to lead the monarchy through unprecedented changes. The moment that changed everything came when Kate announced the Diana Initiative. This wasn't just a tribute to Princess Diana, it was a true turning point. Kate didn't want her mother-in-law's legacy to be limited to bouquets in front of Kensington Palace or annual memorials. She wanted to bring Diana's voice back stronger with a clear purpose and lasting impact. This initiative was a way for Diana to live on not just in memory, but through action. The Diana Initiative is a global nonprofit organization built on the values that Princess Diana once cherished: kindness, honesty, and putting people first. But this isn't just a charity with a royal logo, it's a concrete plan with Kate leading it passionately. She isn't merely lending her name, she's putting her heart into the project, ensuring that Diana's legacy will bring about real change. Kate also spoke about the past mistakes when Diana was hurt by unfair actions from the media and large organizations. She emphasized that the Diana Initiative wasn't just about looking toward the future, but also about correcting the injustices Diana had endured. In this way, Kate not only honored Diana's legacy, but also turned it into a driving force to build a better world in line with the spirit Diana always championed. William stepped forward each stride, steady, his back straight, his face betraying no emotion, but his hands remained firm. Royal tradition weighed heavily on him, but so did the future. This was not just about preserving the monarchy. It was about its evolution. William had prepared a speech. Every word had been edited, rehearsed, and refined, but when the moment came, only sincerity could truly convey it all. Princess Kate didn't choose the red carpet or staged photos. Instead, she announced that she would go to the places that needed support, the most women's shelters, low-income communities, and families struggling with hardship. She committed to listening to survivors, talking with families, and connecting directly with people. This wasn't an action for the front pages of newspapers, but because it was the right thing to do. The public immediately recognized the sincerity in her promise. Kate's Diana Initiative evokes the way Princess Diana worked close, practical, and always putting people first. However, Kate is not just following in Diana's footsteps. She is forging her own path inspired by her mother-in-law's legacy, but designed for the modern world. With a broader reach and long-term goals, Kate's project carries a structured vision ready to create sustainable change. Unlike Diana, who often worked outside the royal system, Kate leverages her position within the palace to give real power to the Diana Initiative. This makes the project not just a charity, but a statement about the new role of the monarchy. While the reign of King Charles and Queen Camilla is still taking shape, Kate and Prince William have turned the public's gaze toward the future, a future that they and their children will lead. The Diana Initiative quickly received enthusiastic support. Social media was flooded with praise, with many calling Kate the Queen of the People. The media didn't crown her with jewels, but with trust. This wasn't just a moment for the UK, but a global wave. The public saw in Kate not just a princess, but a future leader ready to step up before the crown truly rests upon her head. However, not everyone shared in this joy. Inside the palace, a troubling silence hung in the air. King Charles and Queen Camilla did not offer any praise or public statements of support. Their absence spoke volumes more than any official comment could. Behind the scenes, the atmosphere grew tense. The king, caught off guard by William and Kate's move, could only exclaim, "What have they done?" He wasn't angry, but it was clear he was shocked by this sudden shift. As King Charles struggled to solidify his role, the public's attention unexpectedly shifted to William and Kate. He had once declared that he would dedicate more time and energy to charitable organizations, but now the spotlight had moved away from him. The Diana Initiative was not just a charity project. It was a statement that the future of the monarchy was being shaped by the younger generation. This made Charles's position feel more precarious than ever. The Diana Initiative was not just Kate's way of honoring Princess Diana, but also a statement that kindness can be a powerful form of leadership. While Diana once used kindness to challenge the system, Kate is using it to guide and shape the future. With growing public support, Kate is not only bringing Diana's legacy back, but also transforming it into a guiding light for a modern, approachable, and responsible monarchy. The Diana Initiative not only brings a breath of fresh air, but also spreads a rare sincerity. This project connects with the public in a way that traditional royal events have failed to do for years. By focusing on values such as kindness and honesty, Kate and William have sparked a sense of closeness, allowing the people to feel genuine care from the royal family. This is not just a campaign, it is a deep commitment. While the public welcomed the initiative, Queen Camilla felt uneasy. After years of working to overcome controversies and build a respectable image, the powerful return of Princess Diana's name revived painful memories and reopened old wounds. Although Kate had no intention of making a personal attack, the Diana Initiative inadvertently placed Camilla in an uncomfortable position, raising concerns about her standing in the eyes of the public. Inside the palace, some began to whisper that Kate had bypassed royal protocols by launching the Diana Initiative without prior approval. Camilla hoped to bring the project under royal control to tone down its influence. However, advisors warned that any attempt to suppress the initiative could make the palace appear petty. As a result, the palace chose to remain silent. No posts, no praise, hoping the issue would eventually fade away. The palace's silence concealed an underlying conflict. Prince William, determined to push forward with the Diana Initiative, told a close assistant, "This isn't a discussion, it's a strategy." He wasn't seeking approval, but acting for a greater purpose. Meanwhile, King Charles felt overshadowed. He privately admitted to close family members, "The attention has moved away from me." It wasn't out of anger, but profound sadness. William, on the other hand, felt hurt by the lack of support from his father. Tensions erupted when Queen Camilla broke her usual composure at a charity event. When asked about the Diana Initiative, she responded sharply, "The monarchy has always served with dedication, and we don't need to invoke the past to prove that." This comment quickly made headlines, with many viewing it as a direct attack on the initiative and the use of Diana's name. The public reacted strongly, with the majority not supporting Camilla. Amidst the wave of controversy, Princess Kate maintained her calm demeanor. At a Diana Initiative event over the weekend, she stated, "This work is not about looking back at the past, but about building a better future together." Although she didn't mention anyone specifically, her message was clear. She was focused on the goal ahead, not allowing the disputes to divert her course. Kate's words not only eased the situation, but also reinforced her image as a skilled and thoughtful leader. Amidst the rising tension, Prince Harry unexpectedly returned to the UK to visit his father, King Charles, who was battling cancer. His appearance sparked hope that the royal family might mend its fractures. However, William seemed to view this not as an opportunity for reconciliation. He remained focused on his own strategy, determined to push the Diana Initiative forward despite the storm brewing within the palace. From a princess once underestimated, Kate is gradually becoming the one shaping the future of the monarchy. The Diana Initiative is not just a charity project, it is a testament to her leadership abilities. Despite the silence from the palace and harsh comments, Kate continues moving forward with confidence and a clear purpose. The public sees not just a future queen, but a leader who is ready right now. Do you feel the strong shift in Kate's leadership style? She's not just a princess. She's increasingly becoming a symbol of strength and confidence. Could Kate be the one to shape the future of the monarchy? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Although there was no public confrontation, Princess Kate's response to Queen Camilla's comments showed that she was not backing down. Tabloid newspapers quickly sensationalized the story, reporting on the division within the palace. A source close to Camilla revealed that she felt cornered and frustrated as the Diana Initiative had taken all the attention of the royal family. Meanwhile, Prince William felt disappointed, believing that his stepmother had turned his and Kate's efforts into a political issue. The palace continued to remain silent, offering no public statement to ease the situation. This lack of unity only made things worse, giving the media an opportunity to fill the void with speculation. Without clear support from King Charles or Camilla, the public began to notice the cracks within the royal family. Silence was not the solution. It became the trigger for further disputes. Everything came to a head when King Charles summoned a private meeting at Clarence House with William and senior advisors. He expressed his frustration, questioning why he wasn't fully informed about the Diana Initiative. Charles called it a breach of royal protocol. However, William stood his ground. "This isn't about protocol, it's about survival," he replied, highlighting the growing generational divide. The meeting ended in stalemate, with Charles leaving without saying another word. After the meeting, leaks began to surface. Charles's camp described William as impulsive and endangering the monarchy's image through reports. In response, William's team used friendly journalists to hit back, claiming Charles was stuck in the past and out of touch with reality. This back and forth was not just a personal disagreement, but a sign of a power shift. A family dispute had become symbolic of the battle for the future of the monarchy. In a private moment, King Charles confided in a friend, "I've spent my entire life preparing for this role and now it's slipping through my fingers." This confession was not born out of anger, but deep sorrow. While Charles tried to maintain his reign in a traditional manner, William and Kate were shaping a new, more modern monarchy. The difference in vision left Charles feeling overshadowed. When the Diana Initiative was announced, it sparked an unprecedented wave of enthusiasm. Social media exploded with hashtags like #Royal Family of the People and Diana Initiative. Crowds gathered outside Kensington Palace, holding flowers, handwritten letters, and hopes for a more approachable royal family. For the first time in many years, the public felt they were truly understood by the royal family. This initiative was not just a promise, but concrete action, bringing a sense of sincerity. Kate and William didn't stop at words. Kate visited shelters, listening to those in need, while William engaged in climate discussions, focusing on listening rather than speaking. These actions deepened the public's affection for them. The Diana Initiative, with compassion and transparency, seemed to continue Princess Diana's legacy, but shaped to address the challenges of the modern world. Despite the widespread support, some began to question whether the Diana Initiative was truly about change or simply a move to consolidate William and Kate's power. While the public saw sincerity, the fractures within the palace revealed that this was not just a charity project. It was a statement that the future of the monarchy was being shaped by the younger generation, despite opposition from those currently in power. The Diana Initiative quickly became a phenomenon. Donations poured into related charities and thousands of volunteers signed up. The project not only honored Princess Diana's legacy, but also touched the hearts of the public by addressing issues such as bullying, domestic violence, and broken families. For the people, this represented a new monarchy, approachable, dedicated, and taking action for those who needed help the most. Behind the glamour, William and Kate took a bold step, launching the Diana Initiative without informing King Charles or Queen Camilla beforehand. This wasn't just a charity project, but a carefully calculated strategy. They knew the palace would be caught off guard, yet they proceeded disregarding traditional royal protocols. This move not only made William and Kate famous, but also transformed them into an unstoppable force. According to close sources, William and Kate not only aim to modernize the monarchy, but also seek to reshape it according to their own vision. To achieve this, they are willing to push aside those who do not align with their plan. Prince Harry and Meghan were the first to be sidelined, as their independent voices and strong emotions were seen as too disruptive. Now, with Charles battling cancer and Camilla trying to maintain her position, William and Kate are quietly consolidating their power. William and Kate have made themselves the center of attention, the face of charity, the voice of the people, and the future of the crown. They act in their own way, disregarding tradition and without seeking approval from the palace. To the public, it's a dedication. But within the palace, it's an ambitious strategy. They're not just reforming the monarchy. They are slowly and quietly replacing it without asking for permission. Prince Harry's public support for the Diana Initiative should have been a moment of unity. He called it a legacy of mother in action, a heartfelt statement that brought global attention to the project. However, this caused tension with William. A phone call between the two brothers turned heated when William expressed his frustration that Harry had commented publicly without prior discussion. William felt that Harry was using the initiative to maintain his influence. The argument wasn't just about the Diana Initiative. It stemmed from the complex history between William and Harry. William accused Harry of jumping in without respecting his plans, while Harry insisted he only wanted to honor his mother. Despite Harry emphasizing his deep love for his brother, the conflict revealed that the rift between them was far from healed. The issue wasn't just about the project, but about deep-rooted disagreements regarding their roles and responsibilities within the royal family. Within the palace, the response to the Diana Initiative remained a tense silence. William and Kate continued to push the project forward, despite the lack of support from Charles and Camilla. The initiative's success made it hard for the palace to ignore, but the absence of a joint statement only fueled further speculation about internal divisions. The pressure mounted on Charles as he faced a younger generation determined to reshape the monarchy's operations. The Diana Initiative marked a turning point, but it also raised the question, is this a renewal or a power struggle? With William and Kate at the center, the public saw a modern, approachable monarchy. But within the palace, figures like Charles and Camilla felt the threat of this change. The struggle wasn't just between individuals, it was about who would shape the future of the monarchy and how it would survive in a rapidly changing world. In an interview in the U.S., Prince Harry stated, "Diana's work belongs to everyone, not just the palace." While on the surface it appeared to be support for the Diana Initiative, many saw it as a subtle message asserting that he would not remain silent just because of royal protocol. The remark sparked mixed reactions. Some praised Harry for his sincerity, while others felt he was complicating an already sensitive situation. The public's reaction quickly became divided. On social media, memes flooded the platforms with quotes from Harry and William, accompanied by captions like, "Same mother, completely different." What began as a tribute to Princess Diana had now turned into a dispute between the two brothers. The media headlines shifted focus from the mission of the Diana Initiative to the family feud overshadowing the charitable work. Princess Kate, the driving force behind the Diana Initiative, found herself in a difficult position. She tried to stay focused on the project, continuing to meet with communities in need, but the media's attention on the conflict between William and Harry made everything more complicated. Despite maintaining a calm exterior, Kate faced pressure from both sides, balancing the vision of the initiative while avoiding being drawn into the family rift. The conflict between William and Harry was not new, but the Diana Initiative sparked the underlying tensions. Sources close to both revealed that the wounds between them were still deep, and what should have been a moment of unity became a testament to the growing divide. Despite efforts to ease the situation from various parties, it was clear that the two brothers were unlikely to find common ground at this time. William and Harry were once the heart of the royal family, standing side by side after the death of their mother, Princess Diana. They relied on each other, bringing hope for a modern monarchy. But behind the smiles in public, cracks quietly grew. Now, their division is not just a personal matter, but a symbol of the challenges the monarchy faces in shaping its future. In his book, Prince Harry revealed a shocking incident, a physical altercation with William. According to Harry, in a fit of anger, William grabbed him by the collar, tore off his necklace, and pushed him to the floor, causing a dog food bowl to break. Harry was injured in the back, but did not retaliate despite William challenging him to do so. Later, William returned remorseful, but their relationship had been deeply damaged. Harry once described his relationship with William as an underlying competition. He's the heir and I'm the spare. The difference in their roles had long created tension, and the physical altercation was just one part of their complicated story. These revelations not only stunned the public, but also led many to question whether the royal family could ever heal these deep wounds. Amid the ongoing drama, the Diana Initiative continued to receive public support, but its mission was increasingly overshadowed by the family feud. William and Kate were determined to push the project forward despite the conflict with Harry and the silence from the palace. However, the big question remained, can the royal family overcome these internal divisions to realize the modern vision they aim for, or will past wounds continue to shape the future of the crown? The conflict between William and Harry is not just a family dispute, but also a symbol of a larger power shift. Prince William is not just a disappointed older brother. He is gradually solidifying his position to prepare for the throne. According to Harry, the tension erupted when William criticized Meghan, calling her difficult and rude. These remarks echoed the harsh headlines Meghan had faced, leading Harry to feel that his family was no different from tabloid media. While Harry and Meghan faced criticism from the media, William and Kate chose to remain silent. They did not speak out to defend their brother and sister-in-law, allowing the hurt to spread. Harry felt betrayed, believing that the palace, including staff close to William and Kate, had intentionally leaked negative stories to tarnish his and Meghan's image. This silence not only deepened the rift, but also seemed to reflect a calculated strategy. In that dining room, they weren't kings or heirs. They were just a family starting anew, closing a chapter of reflection and questions. The final scenes of this extraordinary day played like a silent film. Buckingham's corridors, once bustling with ceremony, now dimmed. A royal car ushered Charles and Camilla away from the palace, their hands quietly clasped in the back seat. William stood at the gate with Catherine waving to the lingering crowd. William didn't need to publicly declare war on Harry. He simply maintained a polite silence, letting the pressure from the palace and the media do the rest. This strategy allowed William and Kate to maintain a positive public image, while Harry and Meghan were slowly pushed out of the royal circle. To the public, this might seem like a voluntary departure, but within the palace, it was the result of a carefully calculated plan. The betrayal was not only the act of Carver, the mastermind behind the ring theft, but also a betrayal within Charles and Camilla's own relationship. The accusations, the doubts, and Charles's cold gaze pushed Camilla away. When Camilla faced suspicion from the very man she loved most, she had to learn to stand on her own even though she didn't want to. Though the truth about the handkerchief was finally revealed, it could not erase the wounds in their relationship. The argument over the bridesmaid dress quickly became a significant crack in their relationship. According to a palace staff member, both Kate and Meghan struggled to contain their emotions, leading to tears on both sides. Although it seemed like a small issue, Kate's tone and handling of the situation were said to have deeply hurt Meghan, marking the beginning of their estrangement. This incident became a symbol of deeper conflicts within the royal family. Harry openly expressed his disappointment, stating that some royal family members had made deals with the devil, implying their cooperation with the media to improve their image even at the cost of hurting others. He emphasized that when these actions harmed him and Meghan, he was forced to draw a line. This statement was not only a defense of Meghan, but also a declaration that he would not accept being manipulated. Amidst the conflicts, William and Kate continue to solidify their position with the Diana Initiative serving as a tool to shape the image of a modern monarchy. However, the rift with Harry and Meghan has somewhat overshadowed the mission of the project. As Charles faces declining health, the big question remains: will William and Kate be able to lead the monarchy past these divides to fulfill their vision, or will the family wounds continue to hinder the future of the crown? The argument over Princess Charlotte's bridesmaid dress was not just a tense moment, but also an emotional and painful one for both Kate and Meghan. However, instead of clarifying the situation, Kate remained silent, allowing the media to spread the narrative that Meghan had made her cry. In her interview with Oprah, Meghan revealed the opposite truth: "I was the one who cried." This misunderstanding was never resolved, and the public quickly took sides with Meghan being portrayed as the villain. Sources close to the situation suggest that Kate deliberately allowed negative press about Meghan to circulate. Some even suspect that the story was edited before being leaked to emphasize Kate's calm and graceful image while portraying Meghan as the troublemaker. This strategy proved effective. Meghan's reputation was seriously damaged, while Kate was praised for her poise and discretion. Kate's silence was not passive. It was a way of letting the headlines do the work for her. After the bridesmaid dress incident, Meghan's role in the royal family gradually diminished. She was no longer invited to important events, and palace staff began treating her with cold politeness. In public photos, Meghan often appeared isolated, distanced from the rest of the family. Meanwhile, Kate continued to solidify her position, praised for her poise and royal demeanor. This contrast made Meghan feel isolated and powerless. Kate didn't need to openly confront Meghan. She stepped back, maintained silence, and allowed the media to do the rest. In the public's eye, Meghan was seen as emotional and dramatic, while Kate was portrayed as calm and innocent. This strategy not only overshadowed Meghan, but also helped solidify Kate's image as an indispensable figure in the royal family. For Meghan, the silent treatment became an unbearable pressure, contributing to her and Harry's eventual decision to step away. Looking back, the argument over Princess Charlotte's bridesmaid dress wasn't just a minor disagreement. It could have been the first step in Kate's subtle plan to diminish Meghan's influence. By allowing Meghan to be seen as the troublemaker, Kate cleverly shaped the narrative, ensuring that she and William remained the focus of attention. While this incident seemed trivial, it became symbolic of deeper tensions within the palace where power and influence were being quietly contested. Not only is there tension with Meghan, but Kate is also facing growing conflict with Queen Camilla. Though both maintain smiles in front of the cameras, a silent power struggle is unfolding behind the palace walls. Recent reports suggest that Camilla has no intention of stepping down from her role, while Kate and William are gradually consolidating their positions in preparation for the future. This competition is increasing the sense of unease within the royal family. Amid family conflicts, the Diana Initiative, the heartfelt project of Kate and William, is being overshadowed by headlines about division. While the project continues to receive public support, its focus, such as supporting children facing challenges like domestic violence or loss, is being obscured by the drama. Kate is trying to maintain the mission, but pressure from the media and internal tensions are making everything more difficult. As King Charles faces declining health and Camilla strives to maintain her position, William and Kate are gradually becoming the new faces of the monarchy. However, the rifts with Harry, Meghan, and even Camilla suggest that the royal family is at a crossroads. Will Kate and William be able to lead the monarchy past these divisions to realize their modern vision? Or will these conflicts continue to shape an uncertain future for the crown? Queen Camilla, while supporting King Charles in his battle with cancer, which was diagnosed in 2024, remains resolutely determined to hold on to her role. A source from US Weekly revealed that Camilla has always coveted the title of Queen and is not willing to step aside for Princess Kate. For her, the title is not only a royal symbol, but also the culmination of years of struggle and overcoming controversies, particularly her image as the third party in the marriage of Charles and Princess Diana. Camilla holds this position with unwavering resolve. Despite her efforts to build a positive image, Camilla has yet to fully gain public acceptance. Many still remember her role in the breakdown of Charles and Diana's marriage. Although this reputation has faded somewhat over time, it continues to affect how she is perceived. Meanwhile, Kate is praised for her elegance and approachability, creating a stark contrast. Camilla faces the pressure of maintaining her position while competing with the growing support for Kate and William. On the surface, the relationship between Camilla and Kate appears to be polite, but behind the scenes it is more tense than supportive. Royal expert Angela Levin once suggested that Camilla guided Kate when she first joined the royal family, but many sources claim that their relationship has never been truly close. Author Robert Hardman, in his book Charles New King, New Court, notes that while Camilla may still be active, her role could be reduced in the future, which causes her concern about the growing influence of Kate and William. While Camilla strives to maintain power, William and Kate are quietly preparing for the future. With Charles's health declining, the couple is believed to be building a trusted team of advisors to ensure a smooth transition when they ascend to the throne. Sources reveal that William and Kate might reconsider Camilla's role after Charles steps down, potentially limiting her influence. This idea is completely at odds with Camilla's desires, further intensifying the underlying tensions. Prince William has openly expressed his desire to modernize the monarchy, focusing on closeness and transparency. The Diana Initiative, a project close to his heart and that of Kate, serves as evidence of this vision. However, William and Kate's approach, acting independently and bypassing traditional protocols, has been seen as a challenge to the traditional style of Camilla and Charles. Their recent granting of royal warrants by Charles further solidifies their position within the royal family. Camilla is not only concerned about her future role, but also facing her own health challenges, including issues with her legs and a history of lung problems. The pressure of supporting Charles in royal duties, combined with the rising prominence of Kate and William, makes her feel that her position is under threat. Some posts on X have even speculated that Camilla may be urging Charles to amend his will to protect her interests, though this information remains unconfirmed. The public is increasingly rallying behind Kate, who is seen as the woman behind the throne, supporting William in his role. Meanwhile, Camilla, though praised for her dedication to Charles during his early cancer diagnosis, continues to face the shadow of her past. Some opinions on X praise Camilla as a wonderful person, but others still hold prejudices about her role in the story with Diana. This comparison complicates Camilla's efforts to strengthen her image. As Charles continues his cancer treatment and Kate gradually returns after her recovery, the royal family is at a crossroads. William and Kate, with strong public support and strategic moves like the Diana Initiative, are shaping a modern monarchy. However, tensions with Camilla and family rifts, including with Harry and Meghan, present significant challenges. Can Kate and William lead the royal family through these turbulent times, or will their conflicts with Camilla shape an unstable future for the crown? So with this major announcement from the royal family, things will never be the same again. This not only changes the current landscape, but also opens up a new chapter full of surprises for the future. What do you think about this decision? Will it bring positive changes, or could it create unforeseen challenges? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to stay updated on the latest developments. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a big shocker from the British royal family that you probably haven't heard of. Prince William has reportedly revoked his royal title from Queen Camilla's grandson following a huge controversy. What happened behind the royal doors? Why did William make such a drastic decision? Find out the whole truth in today's video. You won't want to miss it. Do you think the royal family should stick to tradition, or should they adapt to the times? If you support tradition, leave a comment of 1. If you think it's time for a change, leave a comment of 0. Enjoy the video and don't forget to leave a sub to support the channel to update the hottest royal dramas. Camilla has successfully managed complex and delicate relationships with younger royals like Prince William and Princess Kate. According to royal biographer Christopher Anderson, Camilla initially viewed Kate as an outsider to the royal family. This made Camilla feel uncomfortable around William and Kate. The situation became more difficult when Prince William proposed changes to the way royal duties were divided, which could have affected Camilla's position in the family. Prince William's proposed reshuffle has caused a stir within the royal family, particularly as he seeks to redistribute royal duties to younger members such as Duchess Kate and Duchess Sophie. Specifically, Sophie has been nominated to replace Queen Camilla as patron of the NPCC, while Kate will take on more prominent responsibilities at official events. These changes not only reduce Camilla's power within the family, but also highlight the conflicting visions between generations within the royal family. This is part of William's long-term plan to modernize the monarchy, making it more relevant to modern society. With the support of Princess Anne, William believes that empowering younger members will strengthen the role and future of the royal family. However, for Camilla, these changes are a direct threat to the position she has worked so hard to achieve. At the Balmoral summit, she is said to have expressed uncertainty and anxiety about her role. Despite her years of service and hopes to be recognized as a true queen, Camilla still feels out of place in the family she is a vital part of. Her discomfort was compounded by her difficult relationship with Prince Harry and other younger royals. Royal commentator Richard Fitzwilliams pointed out that Camilla's emotional reaction at the summit was due to her still seeking acceptance from the royal family. Her strong reaction caught people's attention, especially given the complex relationships within the family. Some were surprised by her comments about Princess Kate, who is known for her grace and loyalty to royal duties. Insiders said Kate was upset by Camilla's sudden criticism, confused as to why her hard work was being questioned. Princess Anne, who has long been a part of the royal family, also expressed surprise, highlighting growing discord within the family. Anne believed in keeping to the traditional ways of the royal family, but also in moving forward and involving younger royals in determining the future of the monarchy. She was surprised by Camilla's actions, highlighting the difficulties the monarchy faces in balancing tradition with the push for modernity. These internal conflicts have exposed ongoing problems within the royal family. Prince William, as the future leader of the monarchy, will now need to address these challenges. He wants to make changes to keep the monarchy relevant in a changing world. But Camilla is uncertain about these changes, showing how difficult it is to go through the transition. Many agree with William's idea of making the monarchy more effective and inclusive. Do you think Prince William is taking more power in the royal family? If you think so, comment number 9. If you think it's not, comment number 6. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next developments in this dramatic royal story. The public and observers see William and Kate as the ideal people to steer the British monarchy in a more modern and contemporary direction. However, the response from Queen Camilla suggests that this transition will not be a smooth one. Despite simmering internal resistance, William has shown his commitment to his reformist vision with strong support from Princess Anne and a steady hand from Kate. With this trio, William is in a strong position to lead the royal family through a period of great change. Meanwhile, Camilla is forced to find a way to maintain her influence in a context where traditional roles are shifting. She faces pressure from both the public and within the royal family to adapt to the changes taking place. Her performance at the Balmoral Summit showed a clear unease at the prospect of being eclipsed by the new power structure. Whether Camilla can reconcile tradition with modernity will be crucial to her place in the future of the monarchy, a future that is being rewritten by a younger generation. The choices made by key figures like William, Kate, and Camilla will determine the future of the monarchy at this pivotal time. William and Kate appear ready to take on a major leadership role, but Camilla's ability to handle these situations will be crucial to the institution's development. Supporting William's ideas and nurturing their relationship could lead to a stronger royal family. But if tensions within the royal family continue to escalate, it could pose a serious threat to the monarchy's long-term reputation and standing. William's reform choices, from redistributing responsibilities to promoting younger members of the family, are not just an internal strategy. They are also a public message about a new direction. While these moves raise expectations for a more modern monarchy, they also carry risks, especially if they unintentionally hurt veterans like Camilla. If the public feels that William is disrespecting or ignoring her contributions, it could negatively impact his image as the future king on whom so much is expected. In such a context, William's political dexterity and ability to reconcile the two sides will be the real test. He will need to find a way to honor traditional values while promoting necessary change. Any rift within the family, especially if exposed publicly, could undermine public confidence in the monarchy. But Camilla is not one to back down easily. Having spent a long time building her image and standing alongside King Charles III, she has every reason to protect her personal legacy and her family's future in the royal family. There has been recent speculation within the palace that Camilla is quietly planning to boost the profile and influence of her own family, including her children from a previous marriage. Some sources have suggested that her calm demeanor in the face of change is not entirely a resignation, but rather a strategy to prepare for bolder moves. After a controversial journey to be recognized as Queen Camilla, may now have her sights set on a bigger goal, securing a permanent and secure place for her lineage in the future of the monarchy. Camilla's own family, long distant from the official royal family, appear to be moving into the spotlight. Her two children, Tom Parker Bowles and Laura Lopes, grew up apart from royal life, but have recently become more visible at royal events. Insiders have suggested that Camilla is deliberately encouraging her children to become more involved in royal life than they have ever been. There have been quiet discussions about granting them royal titles, a controversial move that, if realized, would signal Camilla's long-term political ambitions. Alongside her efforts to care for her children, attention has also been focused on her granddaughter, who has recently been seen with Prince George at a number of private events. Despite her young age, close relationships at an early age are sometimes more than just coincidences in the royal family. Some have speculated that Camilla is now planning to forge a strong link between her lineage and the future of the throne. While this may seem far-fetched, such strategic alliances are not uncommon in royal history, especially when it comes to cementing a position over generations. Camilla may be playing a long game. Bringing her children and grandchildren into the royal family's orbit isn't just about prestige, it's also a way to protect and consolidate her personal influence during this tumultuous transition. As queen, she has certain privileges to influence her public image, and she's clearly using them to reshape her family's role in the future of the monarchy. If Camilla's granddaughter does marry Prince George in the future, it would create a strong and lasting link between the Parker Bowles family and the royal family, a move that is both symbolic and strategic. Many are now wondering, was this something Camilla had planned all along? Was her controversial marriage to King Charles III really a love affair? Or was it the first step in a long-term plan to protect her and her family's position? In retrospect, Camilla's steadfastness in dealing with public opinion, her tact in communicating, and her unwavering loyalty to Charles have led many to suspect that she acted with a clear vision of the future. But the plan may be in danger of collapsing. A recent disagreement between Camilla's nephew and Prince George, though details have not been made public, is thought to have caused Prince William to lose his patience. William, who is known for his calm and strategic demeanor, was visibly upset, indicating the seriousness of the situation and the potential consequences for the relationship Camilla has worked so hard to cultivate. With William playing a central role in modernizing the monarchy, any rift between him and Camilla could completely sever the fragile bond between the two families. In this context, Camilla's years of hard work to gain recognition and build a secure future for her children and grandchildren may be in vain. Despite her tireless efforts to transform her image from pariah to full-fledged queen consort to King Charles, Camilla is facing the harsh reality that royal acceptance does not always mean a guarantee of power for her own family. If her relationship with William continues to be strained, she could see all her hard work unravel, along with her dream of leaving a royal legacy for future generations. On a seemingly peaceful Sunday in Windsor Gardens, a small but consequential incident occurred, and it may have been the moment that ended Camilla's hopes of moving her family further into the royal circle. While the younger members of the royal family were enjoying the sunshine, one of Camilla's nephews, who doesn't have a royal title but was allowed to attend because of his connections to her taunted Prince George. It seemed harmless at first, but it quickly escalated into a series of insensitive remarks, mockery, and bullying. George, raised in a world of rules and expectations, was deeply hurt. The teasing went beyond challenging his future status to insulting the memory of his late grandmother, Princess Diana. The way the words were spoken with surprising knowledge from a child left the adults around him stunned. No one was sure whether the boy had come up with them himself or was repeating something he had heard in private conversations between adults, especially those close to Camilla. William, who is fiercely protective of his children and devoted to family harmony, could not ignore it. After George returned uncharacteristically quiet, Kate reportedly spoke to her husband about the incident. And then William acted. Within the palace, he is said to have demanded the withdrawal of any plans that had been proposed to bring Camilla's children closer to the heart of the royal family. This was not an impulsive decision, but an affirmation that the honor of the royal family, especially that of the next generation, could not be taken lightly. This could be the big mistake that will send Camilla's long-term plans into a tailspin. A slip of the tongue from a child, or perhaps a bigger shadow from an adult, could be enough to undo years of accumulated strategy. The question now is not just what happened, but what will Camilla do next when both her position and the legacy she has sought for her family are on the brink of collapse. Prince George's mother. Princess Catherine immediately noticed something was wrong with her son's red eyes-drawn expression and slow movements. When she gently asked, George opened up and detailed the insults, taunts, and bullying he had endured during that intimate encounter. For a child raised in a loving and strict environment, the experience left George feeling small, deeply traumatized, and the first major turning point in his life. A painful one. Kate, who is known for her calm and patient demeanor, reacted very strongly. This time she became extremely angry and worried about her son. Prince William, who has always been known for his protective nature and pride in his family, was also deeply affected by the situation. Although there was no shouting or public announcement, William quietly but firmly made a decision that had a huge impact on the royal family. This decision was not just a disciplinary action, but also a stern warning to maintain order and honor in the royal family. Camilla's nephew, who had been considered for a special role in the royal family and was expected to contribute to the elevation of Camilla's family, was suddenly stripped of all titles, roles, and invitations to royal events. This decision not only ended his royal future, but also created a huge shock within the palace. Immediately, people started talking about this event. Some people were pleased with William's decisive decision, while many others were surprised and worried about the possible negative effects on family relationships. Camilla has made a number of efforts to elevate her family's status within the royal family. From lobbying for minor titles for family members to naming schools near the royal family, to encouraging her children to be more involved in royal events. Initially, these moves were considered normal and reasonable. However, according to many in the palace, they were too much too soon and a bit too ambitious. Now Camilla's plans and intentions have been completely stalled. King Charles, who had held several meetings to try to resolve the family feud, remained silent. Rather than easing tensions, his silence was a silent message about the difficulties that existed. Torn between his wife and his son, he chose to remain neutral. Camilla, according to many sources, felt extremely angry and disappointed when her private plans were suspended publicly without an official announcement. The once close relationship she had built was now gradually broken, and the public could easily see the growing tension within the royal family, making the future of Camilla and her family in the royal family more uncertain than ever. Although no official announcement was made, observers noticed that some children were absent from family gatherings. Smiles were strained, and seating arrangements were different. People were always interested in what was happening with the royal family. What was supposed to be a normal family day of messy food, happy children, and happy grandparents took a turn. The day was a milestone, not only because of the care Prince George received, but also because he received emotional support that is rarely publicly displayed within the royal family. Although it was handled very quietly and privately, it was an unusual and groundbreaking move by the royal family to prioritize the fairness and feelings of their younger members over the traditional silence. The decision was a small but significant step, indicating a shift in the way the royal family is increasingly concerned about the mental and emotional health of the heirs to the throne. Though often seen in joyous moments at grand events, the young members of the royal family are not immune to pain and inner hurt. What was supposed to be a weekend family bonding session turned into a scene of deep conflict. Prince George's tears were not only a sign of a boy coming to understand the great responsibilities and pressures he would have to shoulder in the future, but also the trigger for a power struggle within the royal family. Amid the gentle afternoon sunlight and the lush green gardens surrounding the palace, a new chapter of the royal family began to be rewritten with more challenges and tensions than ever before. Families were enjoying themselves with laughter music and the smell of fresh pastries in the air. Parents were relaxing under a white tent, drinking tea and chatting. Children were playing nearby, supervised but mostly free to play and have fun. The event was intended to be a peaceful gathering filled with elegance and traditional customs. But then something surprising happened. What had started as a pleasant afternoon took a dark turn. The football match started out as a friendly affair with light touches and loud voices, the norm at family gatherings. However, things took a turn when Camilla's eldest grandson began making cruel comments about Prince George. He was criticized for his gait, belittled, and even ridiculed for his clothes. The comments became increasingly vicious and hurtful, creating a hostile atmosphere that was difficult to ignore. Even at 11, Prince George has learned to keep his cool in public, but this time the deliberate and malicious bullying left him upset and hurt. When George tried to withdraw from the group, the taunts continued, mocking his skills and even calling him special in a derogatory way. The most hurtful insult was when he was called Mama's Boy, a direct reference to George's relationship with his late mother, Princess Diana. As the situation escalated, staff quickly intervened, separating the children and putting George in a car with bodyguards to avoid being recorded by the media. Despite the careful and discreet care, Prince George could not contain his emotions and quietly shed tears in the car. Meanwhile, the atmosphere in the tent where the meeting took place initially appeared normal. Camilla maintained her composure, chatting with the guests as if nothing had happened, or perhaps she deliberately kept her distance to avoid mentioning the incident. However, Princess Catherine immediately realized that something was wrong through her son's strange eyes and attitude, signaling a more serious sign that was secretly taking place. Catherine noticed that Camilla's smile was a little strained, and that her hand was gripping Princess Charlotte's more tightly than usual, a sign of underlying tension. When the event was over and they returned to Adelaide Cottage, Catherine decided to tackle the matter head-on. She spent time alone with Prince George, just the two of them, without staff or anyone else present, a truly heartfelt conversation between mother and son. George was hesitant at first, but gradually he opened up and shared what he had been through: the cruel jokes, the insults, the ridicule of his father, as well as the hurtful words about his late grandmother Diana. As Catherine listened attentively to the story, her face changed from calm to stern, showing her determination to protect her son. That silent but powerful anger was like the strength of a mother who would do her best to protect her child. Catherine, who had always strictly followed the rules and was loyal to the monarchy, was optimistic and patient in many situations, but now it was time for her to speak out clearly that this behavior had to stop immediately. This was the final line that she could not ignore to protect her son's future and soul. She chose to be honest and express her feelings openly. Catherine had a deep conversation with William, which was a very emotional and intense moment for both of them. They had a frank discussion without shouting or anger. Catherine remained calm and composed without crying or pleading, but she made it clear that their son had been hurt, and she was determined to prevent it from happening again in their family, especially by someone they trusted. Under the soft light of the living room lamp, Catherine gently compared William to her mother, Princess Diana. She did not hesitate to emphasize that the rigid rules and constant pressure of royal life had caused deep damage and left lasting emotional wounds for Diana. From there, Catherine expressed her strong determination that she did not want her son to experience similar trauma. She encouraged William to stand up and take on the role of future king with fortitude, but at the same time, he needed to know how to protect his own feelings and responsibilities. William listened to every word with deep understanding. He saw his son George not only as the future heir to the throne, but also as a sensitive child who needed to be protected, nurtured, and supported, both in the royal environment and in his own small family. That night, the atmosphere in the house was peaceful, but filled with intense emotions. George went to bed early, his eyes still red, while Catherine and William sat side by side, silently sensing a profound change taking place in both of their minds. They talked a lot, but a silent understanding emerged that went beyond words. Protecting George now meant more than just physical security. It meant speaking out against cruelty, especially from those closest to her. Catherine was adamant about not keeping quiet or leaving her son to deal with such pressure alone. She was against the way adults imposed their opinions on children and was willing to set rules and boundaries to protect him. But the big question remained, how would she effectively protect George in such a complex environment? Everyone was waiting to see what the next steps would be. The next day, Kate decided to cancel all scheduled meetings and stay at home with George and Charlotte. This was not a simple day off, but a silent protest. In private, she insisted that everything be recorded, not ignored or changed. The story quickly reached the palace when King Charles's personal assistant received a message about the incident involving Prince George. Prince William and the Princess of Wales requested a private meeting with the king, which took place the next day. King Charles listened to the story seriously and appeared concerned while Queen Camilla tried to downplay the incident, saying it was just a trivial childish quarrel. When asked about the consequences for her nephew, Camilla simply smiled and said, "They're just kids. They'll soon forget." However, Kate didn't need to argue further because her silence, serious expression, and the way she held George's hand said it all. She knew that without timely support, such mental trauma could lead to serious consequences, such as anxiety, depression, or even addiction. Now Kate was no longer just defending her royal titles or position. She was a mother who protected her son with all her strength and determination. Prince William, despite always respecting his father and fulfilling his royal duties, could not remain silent about his son's situation, and this time he decided to speak up. Immediately after his private meeting with the king, William returned to Kensington Palace, gathered his inner circle, and paced his study, preparing for a major announcement. He insisted that Camilla's nephew would not be given a royal title without the consent of senior family members. While Camilla gradually introduced her children and grandchildren to the public in the hope of consolidating her family's position and power, William saw through the ruse. His indifference to George's pain was no accident, but part of Camilla's long-term strategy to secure her family's future in the monarchy. William was determined to prevent the boy who had hurt George from suffering consequences. He saw the boy as a symbol of the negative effects of Camilla's attempts to manipulate power, a strategy that used her close relationship with the king to change royal customs, promote favoritism, and disrupt the traditional order. With a firm resolve, William focused on preserving the fairness and stability of the royal family, while protecting his son from negative influences that could linger into the future. It was not just a professional or formal matter for William, but a deeply personal one. When their son was hurt, Kate and William decided to keep the matter out of the public eye, avoiding unnecessary noise or controversy. However, within the privacy of the palace walls, they sent a clear message that the incident had deeply affected them emotionally and spiritually. They did not see it as an isolated incident, but as a warning of potential dangers that could affect the future and stability of the royal family. Prince William, who has always been calm and reliable in difficult situations, showed a different side when faced with threats to his children. His strong protective instincts were more evident than ever. William has shared that when he became a father, the boundaries between work and personal life seemed to blur, and he experienced emotions that exceeded his own. He sent a strong message to the palace: the safety and well-being of his children must come first, even more important than tradition or the unity of the royal family. This marked a significant shift in the way he protected his family, showing that he was willing to stand up for his children at all costs. This was not something he announced publicly, but a choice he made privately within the palace. The decision had a major impact. William informed his trusted advisors that Camilla's nephew would no longer be allowed to attend royal gatherings where his children were present. William announced that Camilla's nephew would not be allowed to attend birthdays, holidays, or trooping the color rehearsals if William's children were present. He stood firm in his decision and did not want any discussion about it. When it was suggested that an apology from Camilla might ease the situation, William firmly rejected it, insisting that what his son needed was not an apology, but real and lasting protection. News of this hardline stance quickly spread throughout the royal family. King Charles, who had hoped to find a peaceful solution to preserve stability, was shocked by his son's uncompromising decision. He paced his private study trying to comprehend the gravity of William's choice, an unusual move from someone who had always prioritized family harmony and moderation. William not only set a clear line that he refused to budge on, but also wanted to redefine what royal privilege meant in modern society. According to him, titles and invitations should not be granted solely on the basis of family ties or personal connections, but should be the result of action, respect, and above all, honor. He felt that this line had been seriously breached, putting fairness and dignity at risk. When Camilla received the news at Clarence House, she was shocked and stunned by the severity of William's reaction, causing further tension within the royal family. Camilla's emotions turned from disbelief to intense anger. She had worked so hard to secure a place in the royal circle for her children and grandchildren, even if it was only a small one. The quiet attendance at events, the invitations all carefully calculated with a single goal to make her family's name remembered in royal history, not just as a sideline detail. But now William had dashed that dream with a single decision, as if he had not only rejected her grandson, but also negated everything she had built up. She shakily put her teacup down on the table, the bitterness of disappointment and tension completely overwhelming the taste of the tea, making her feel like this was no more than punishment than justice. However, William does not want to use his power to seek revenge or hurt anyone. Instead, he wants to leave a lasting mark on fairness and principle in the royal family. He has set strict rules to protect his children and respect the legacy and memory of his late mother, Princess Diana. Through it all, William has made it clear that even though he is a member of the royal family, he values his role as a father above all else. Protecting and raising his children in a safe, loving environment is his top priority. In a world where royal duties often require silence and sacrifice, Prince William made a strong decision to prioritize the safety of his children over following tradition. Camilla and William clashed over family. Camilla barged into King Charles's study without knocking. She looked upset, clutching a letter and speaking loudly, which was not normal for her. William's letter had shocked her at first, but now she just felt betrayed. Camilla could not hide her anger when she said that William had brought shame to her family and humiliated her. She stressed that it was a young man who was involved and should have been handled more gently. But King Charles, meanwhile, did not want to expand the argument. He looked older, tired from the burden of his leadership duties. Charles listened carefully to Camilla, even sympathizing with her pain, but he also saw the bigger picture. Charles felt sorry for the pain Camilla was feeling, but he understood his responsibility to prepare for the future of the kingdom. William was not just acting as a son, but as a future king, laying the foundations for his dynasty. He had faced many storms, doubts, and rumors during his reign, so he knew that he could not afford to have major disagreements with his successor. He did not want to be questioned later about why he had not acted decisively when things were still under control. Charles assured Camilla that he would not object to William's protection of the family because everyone in the family deserved respect and protection. Camilla turned pale and left without a word, slamming the door behind her, leaving the palace staff stunned. Known for her calmness and control of her emotions, this action took many by surprise. Camilla decided to cancel a planned public event, citing a headache, but no one really believed it. Rumors quickly spread that she had not mentioned William's name at dinner and remained silent, creating a cold atmosphere in the dining room. Camilla's anger did not seem to subside, but became more insidious, quiet, and profound. Those close to her realized one thing clearly: there was a permanent change in her relationship with William. Camilla, who had always been known for her intelligence, patience, and flexibility, no longer considered William as an illegitimate son, but began to see him as a real rival. Worse still, Camilla realized something disturbing. William was not only winning the situation, but he was also controlling the future of the royal family. Initially a private matter, the incident quickly became public knowledge, shocking and surprising many in the palace and the public. At a family event, Camilla's nephew and Prince George had a negative interaction in which George was mocked and insulted, sparking much speculation and controversy. Although there was no physical altercation, the incident had a profound impact. Rumors and sensational media headlines quickly spread, and the real story was finally revealed. The controversial headlines focused on Prince George being insulted by some of his father's close relatives, causing great concern and division among the public. In response to the pressure, William decided to strip Camilla's nephew of a royal title, acting out of personal reasons and a sense of responsibility to protect his family rather than political considerations. The public reaction was swift and strong. Social media exploded with heated discussions, and royal forums showed unwavering support for William and George. Many called for the boy to be protected, while recalling Princess Diana believing that she would be proud of how her son and grandson handled the situation. The parallels between past and present make the story all the more remarkable. Camilla was blamed for the troubles in the royal family, and now her grandson is causing controversy with direct consequences for Diana's grandson. The phrase Team George began to spread on social media, with artists even drawing George wearing a small crown, looking confident and resilient. Many admired the young prince for his innocence, courage and compassion, seeing them as true royal qualities not related to his lineage, but in his conduct. Experts also weighed in, offering insightful analysis of the situation and what it meant for the future of the monarchy. A former royal press secretary said it was a big moment for William because he was focused on his son rather than the media spotlight. It touched a lot of people's hearts who saw a new side of the palace. The controversy was not just about what was said, but about deep beliefs protecting the family and showing loyalty. At that moment, people could see which side they were on. What is Camilla trying to do with her maneuvers as the royal family takes a bold new direction? The recently announced plan to modernize the monarchy focuses explicitly on the younger generation, especially Prince William and Princess Kate, overshadowing her role in the future of the royal family. This has left Camilla's position and influence within the royal family blurred and controversial. Prince William, the heir to the throne, has spoken publicly about the importance of looking forward, modernizing, and making the monarchy more effective. However, in his measured remarks, he did not mention Camilla, which has led many to question her role in the long-term development of the royal family. The absence of Camilla's name from William's statement is a clear signal that she will not play a central role in the future of the monarchy. The plan to restructure the royal family aims to reduce the number of active royals, save costs, and focus on the direct heirs to the throne. In doing so, people like Camilla, the queen consort by marriage to King Charles III and not directly involved in shaping the future of the monarchy, will be less visible and her public role will be significantly reduced. It is a major shift reflecting a profound change in the way the modern royal family operates and its priorities. In this new structure, Camilla's responsibilities appear to be lessened with more focus on William, Kate, and their children. The change signals a priority on connecting with young people and the contemporary values that William and Kate represent. But for Camilla, it is a step back personally and professionally. Traditionally, as queen, she supports the monarch and represents the crown to the public. The new plan sees a shift away from outdated roles, leaving less room for Camilla to contribute. The restructuring of the royal family has exposed ongoing tensions between members. King Charles has tried to elevate Camilla, but William has a different idea for a modern monarchy. The disagreement has raised concerns about the power dynamics within the family and how it could affect their relationships. In public statements, William has been careful but firm in presenting the restructuring as a major step towards modernizing the monarchy. He has avoided criticizing Camilla, directly presenting the changes as more practical than personal. However, his failure to acknowledge her contribution speaks volumes to Camilla. This is significant. Being excluded from plans to shape the future of the monarchy diminishes her impact and presence. This has left many wondering about Camilla's legacy and true place in the royal family, especially considering the years of hard work and perseverance she has spent trying to establish herself, build her reputation, and win public support. Her exclusion from the royal restructuring, which has focused instead on the younger generation such as Prince William and Kate, reflects a clear shift in priorities towards members closer to the throne, while also obscuring her public role and influence in the larger picture of the modern monarchy. The decision reflects the growing power of Prince William and Kate as they assert their central role in reshaping and modernizing the monarchy. Meanwhile, Camilla has been pushed further behind the scenes, which is difficult given her long-standing efforts in the royal family. Queen regents have traditionally played an important role in supporting the monarch, but their influence has often diminished after their spouses have left office, creating a complex cycle of power within the palace. By de-emphasizing Camilla, William is showing the importance of the future direction of the monarchy. The main focus now is on sustainability, contemporary beliefs, and the direct line of succession. The consequences of this plan for the royal family will be significant as it unfolds. Camilla is faced with the challenge of maintaining her dignity and finding her role in a family that is growing without her. The removal of Queen Camilla from a key role in the restructuring of the royal family marks a significant turning point for both her and the royal family. It is not just a change in her position, but also a profound shift in power within the family. However, this is not the first time that Prince William has restricted the role of Camilla's relatives. Previously, her sister, Annabel Elliot, was also removed from key positions in the Duchy of Cornwall in a major reshuffle led by William. William, as Duke of Cornwall, has decided to take the duchy in a new direction by removing Annabel Elliot from the management of the duchy. Elliot, an experienced interior designer, has worked with the royal family for more than 2 decades and has made a significant contribution to the management of the duchy's assets. Her departure marks the end of a long partnership and shows William's determination to modernize and refresh the vast estate. Under Elliot's leadership, many projects have been successfully completed to restore and preserve historic buildings in Cornwall, Wales, and the Isles of Scilly. These projects have not only preserved their historical value, but also transformed these properties into luxury resorts, attracting tourists and significantly increasing the revenue of the duchy. With his sophistication, attention to detail, and excellent taste, Elliot has helped to harmoniously combine tradition and modern convenience, contributing to the prestige and efficiency of the Duchy of Cornwall's property management. She assisted in the restoration and design of Dumfries House in Scotland, which is now a 20-room historic residence. Elliot also oversees the estate office space and assists the nursery that supplies plants to the duchy's properties. Her work is considered valuable in maintaining the sustainability and visual appeal of the duchy's properties. Despite her high regard for her professionalism and taste, Elliot is not officially an employee. She works on a commercial basis and is paid between $19,625 and $82,272 a year for various projects. She is also reimbursed for inventory and furnishings. However, the Principality's latest financial statements show that Elliot will not receive any payment for her services in the 2023 to 2024 financial year. It was the first time in more than 20 years that she had not been paid for her work. While the official reason for Elliot's termination was not related to her performance, the timing of the decision has raised eyebrows. Some believe that her close family ties to Queen Camilla may have played a role in the decision. Elliot has always had a close relationship with her sister and has been quietly involved in royal circles for a long time. Her former position of trust in the duchy has given credence to rumors of changes and moves within the royal family. Those who know Prince Charles say he is trying to make the duchy more modern and professionally run. Prince William wants the duchy to be innovative, efficient, and transparent in its management. His team is said to be reviewing old partnerships and agreements to ensure they are in line with these new goals. Elliot's departure from the duchy appears to indicate that William wants to run things his way, rather than keeping the old ways of his father, King Charles III, who ran the duchy before becoming king. The financial statements released when Elliot left provide a stark comparison. Elliot will not receive any payments in 2023, while Prince William is said to have earned around $30 million from the Duchy of Cornwall. The duchy, founded in 1337 by King Edward III to provide a steady income for the heir to the throne, owns around 137,000 acres of land across southern England, as well as neighboring Cornwall, Wales, and the Isles of Scilly. It is a vast estate of great historical and economic importance to the royal family, and has been a symbol of power and wealth for centuries. Under Prince William's stewardship, the duchy's revenues have grown significantly, helping to strengthen the royal family's financial foundations amid major changes and pressures to modernize. The departure of Elliot, the youngest sister of Queen Camilla, from her position as the head of the Duchy of Cornwall is seen as a significant turning point, showing that William is taking the initiative to take the duchy in a new direction with a focus on efficiency and sustainability. However, this decision also entails inevitable consequences when balancing long-standing traditions with bold reforms, and directly affects the royal relationships that have been built up over many years. Along with the financial and management changes, Camilla's public image has also undergone many positive changes. Through her tireless efforts, she has tried to become more friendly, approachable, and kind, which has led to constructive media coverage, and her image has become brighter than before. Her bright smiles at official events have gradually helped to erase old prejudices. However, as attention has gradually shifted to Prince William and Princess Kate, prominent figures with modern, calm working styles and a subtle respect for tradition, Camilla's position has been somewhat overshadowed. When William and Kate's son, Prince George, was hurt by unexpected events, the couple decided to publicly defend their child in a strong and decisive manner. This action received widespread support from the public, making both the public and royal staff feel in agreement. A series of letters of encouragement were sent to Kate, many of which were sincere and touching. Even veteran staff who worked with Princess Diana saw in William a deep concern for his children, similar to the love and responsibility that Diana had shown in the past. A warm and meaningful moment took place on a peaceful Sunday morning when William, Kate, and their two children, George and Charlotte, arrived at church. Although the crowd outside was small, they still gave the royal family a gentle round of applause, expressing sincere admiration and approval. Kate's gentle gesture towards her son, although wordless, was expressed through her loving gaze and deep concern, highlighting the close bond within the family, where love is always a solid foundation. Unlike previous royal family conflicts that were often kept private to avoid attention, this time William and Kate chose to share publicly to protect their children from harm, despite pressure from public opinion and the media. They did not violate any rules or standards, nor did they cause controversy, but simply expressed family affection and responsibility. This made the public feel emotional, sympathetic, and even more respectful of the young royal couple. Meanwhile, Camilla is facing a difficult reality as her efforts to improve her image begin to fade. The public is beginning to question whether she is truly prioritizing her family, especially as her grandson, once a figure who was widely expected to be a major part of the royal family's future, shows signs of straying from the expected path. It is worth noting that this change is not related to any scandal or political scandal, but rather a subtle shift in the public's perception of her position and role. This reflects the profound reality that no matter how sincere and kind a person is, the perceptions of society and those around them can change over time. It is not a power struggle, but an honest expression of deep emotions such as love, sadness, and courage, the elements that create strength and social consensus in modern times. The public has unanimously supported William and Kate because they are not just royals with prestigious titles, but also people who clearly demonstrate family affection and real responsibility in life. People expect leaders to not only rely on titles, but also be worthy of real actions and sincerity. This event marks an important milestone, proving that power does not only come from loud voices or traditional power, but also comes from protecting justice, honesty, and love in life. The royal family is now shifting its focus to real values such as honesty and love. Instead of remaining secretive and clinging to old traditions, it is dedicated and responsible individuals who will truly shape the future of the monarchy in the new era, bringing positive and meaningful change to both the family and the country. Thank you for watching until the end of the video. The story of Prince William and the decision to revoke the title from Queen Camilla's nephew will certainly be controversial in the coming time. Do you think this is the right thing to do? Or is there something hidden behind it that has not been revealed? Leave your comments below in the comments section. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the latest royal news and hottest drama. See you in the next video. Welcome to the channel. Today we're diving into a deeply emotional moment that left many in tears. In a heartfelt conversation, King Charles revealed a shocking truth about Prince Harry's real mother, leaving him unable to hold back his emotions. What exactly happened during this special meeting? Stay tuned to uncover the secret behind Prince Harry's tears and the story that's never been told before. Have you ever heard any rumors about the British royal family? If yes, drop a 1 in the comments. If not, leave a 0. Enjoy the video to uncover this shocking secret, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button to support the channel. A royal letter once sealed in sorrow and buried in silence has finally been revealed. It is the final message from King Charles to Prince Harry. An eerie phrase emerges from the letter: "I cannot tell you not because I don't love you, but because the truth will break you." This is the moment when Harry learns the truth about his biological mother. Historians are stunned, the palace is in turmoil, and Harry must finally face the truth he never wanted to know. This is not only a family secret, but also the most carefully guarded lie of the crown. The words in the letter shattered everything. It had been hidden, forgotten, and sealed away for nearly 4 decades in the royal archives. But when the letter was revealed, it not only raised countless questions, but also cracked the foundation of royal history. One single line sent shockwaves: "He will never be hers," not truly, because from the very beginning, he was never hers. These words are cold, profound, and carry a direct meaning. Historians quickly dated the letter to the mid-1980s when Prince Harry was still a child, around 1985 or 1986. This was a period of political turmoil with growing public pressure and the gradual unraveling of Charles and Diana's marriage. The letter was sent to a longtime friend of Charles, possibly a royal cleric or a spiritual advisor. Whoever it was, it's clear that Charles trusted them enough to confide in them what he could never voice publicly. Now, as the palace refuses to comment, the mystery deepens. Why was the letter concealed? Why was it made public at this moment? And most importantly, who is Charles referring to when he makes that statement? If it's not Diana, everything could change. When the letter was revealed, all eyes were drawn to this weighty remark. But to truly understand its meaning, we must ask, who is she and what did Charles really intend to convey? The phrase, "he will never be hers," may sound simple, but in the secretive world of the royal family, nothing is ever that straightforward. The question that now haunts everyone is, who is Charles referring to and why say this at such a moment of crisis? Some believe this refers to Diana, but historians argue otherwise. They suggest the language in the letter could hint at something far more complex. Perhaps a surrogate, a secret third party, or even a biological mother unknown to the public. This becomes even more suspicious when we consider the timing of the letter. It wasn't written in the 1990s when the relationship between Charles and Diana had exploded into public view, but rather during the quiet tension before the public ever knew about the breakdown of their marriage. Did Charles truly think this way at that time? Who was the letter written to, a trusted advisor within the Church of England, or perhaps someone closer like the successor to Lord Mountbatten? Some within the palace claim that this was not a slip of the tongue, but a deliberate and emotional decision. The words in the letter have caused historians to rewrite the royal family's timeline. This leads them to wonder whether this is an early confession of something far larger than we had ever imagined. Could this be the royal cover-up that has persisted for years? The theory that Harry may have been born via a surrogate, once dismissed and silenced for decades, has resurfaced. This idea was ridiculed in the past, but now, with the revelation of the letter, it no longer seems impossible. Perhaps this is the truth the royal family has been trying to conceal for all these years. The words in the letter have changed everything suddenly. What was once unthinkable now not only makes sense, but also seems far too fitting. In the early 1980s, Diana was hospitalized several times under vague circumstances, officially due to stress or private health issues. However, insiders now reveal there were discussions concerning her fertility concerns. Quiet conversations between doctors, aides, and royal advisors. If Charles and Diana were as estranged at that time as many suggest, and a public heir was needed, could the crown have arranged for a surrogate behind closed doors? The palace holds power and motive. All it requires is secrecy. Charles's words, "not hers from the very beginning," take on a different meaning now. When considering a surrogate, Diana may have been asked to raise the child playing the role of a mother without any biological connection. This could explain the letter and her long silence. Royal experts now suggest that this theory is no longer just speculation, but may explain the emotional distance, even the lifelong sense of disconnection that Harry has always felt. If this theory holds true, if Diana is not Harry's biological mother, what would this mean about the woman we thought we knew? Was she part of the secret, or was she the one safeguarding it? Her silence may not have been a coincidence. It could very well be the entire essence of Princess Diana's silence. Diana was known for her love, compassion, and devotion to her sons. But when it comes to Harry, that love now raises an emotional question. Was she his biological mother, or was she the protector he chose to have? Diana's love for Harry was real. That part is clear. A palace staff member recalled, "She protected Harry more than anyone I've ever seen, not just with motherly love, but as if she were shielding him from something we couldn't see." Perhaps she wasn't just protecting Harry from the press, but also from the truth. If Diana knew the truth and took it to her grave, the past could be buried deeper than anyone ever imagined. But the timeline surrounding Harry's birth raises even more questions. Harry's birth in September 1984 led the public to believe that Diana and Charles were a young, smiling royal couple fulfilling their duties. But behind the scenes, cracks were forming. Now the timeline is being scrutinized closely. Many royal watchers point out suspicious gaps in the public record. Early in 1984, Diana had a sudden hospital visit that went unreported with no images, no public explanation. When asked, palace aides simply said she was unwell, but they never specified how. Then there is the question of James Hewitt, long rumored to be Harry's father. Hewitt has always denied this, claiming he only met Diana after Harry was born. That may be true, and in fact it supports a much deeper hidden story about Harry's origins, perhaps not about the father, but the mother. Currently, many royal archives from the 1980s are being reviewed, and there are quiet reports suggesting that some documents may have been replaced or altered with dates around the time of Harry's birth. A former palace aide said, "We always followed procedure unless told otherwise. It's possible that in the past the royal family requested the alteration of certain documents to conceal the truth in order to protect the reputation of the family and avoid questions about Harry's true origins." That protocol likely included covering up the truth about who carried Harry. As these documents are quietly reviewed, a rumor resurfaces. Has Harry ever had a DNA test? Did he want answers but never receive them? The next layer of this royal mystery could lie in something very small yet incredibly powerful. The rumor of a DNA test has circulated for years with whispers from palace insiders and hints in biographies. Some claim quietly that Harry had requested a test but never saw the results. Now, with the letter being revealed, these whispers are growing louder. Some say a private test was conducted in the early 2000s, quietly carried out at the royal labs. A former security staff member claims that a sealed envelope was sent to Clarence's house. No one knows what happened after that. Did Charles see the results? Did Harry ever see them? If the results were concealed, it raises a troubling possibility that someone was trying to protect not only the monarchy, but also Harry himself. Because if the truth is that Charles is the father, but Diana is not the mother, the royal narrative would change, and Harry's entire sense of identity would be altered. However, there is another possibility. Charles's letter may have never been meant to confirm anything, but merely to sow enough doubt to create an emotional distance, a quiet way of saying, "I know, and I cannot change that." One historian remarked, "The letter feels like guilt turned to ink." If that is the truth, the dilemma surrounding the DNA may never be resolved, as the real damage is emotional. As whispers turn into questions and silence transforms into suspicion, one man remains at the center of the storm: King Charles. Because if this story is about Harry's identity, it is also about the secret of a father and perhaps the hidden anguish he carries, the hidden pain of King Charles. Charles has always appeared calm and controlled, but beneath the rigid upper lip and royal tradition lies a man who bears a profound personal burden. The letter now brought to light is not just a historical footnote, but perhaps the rawest glimpse into the inner turmoil of Charles we've ever seen. He will never be hers. Not truly, because from the very beginning he was never hers. Read that line not with doubt, but with sorrow. What if it isn't meant to be cruel, but is in fact a confession? If that's Charles trying to put into words what he's struggled with for years, many close to the royal family have noted that the relationship between Charles and Harry has always been strained. Public events unfolded formally but lacked warmth, and the colder tone became more apparent as Harry grew older. Some attribute this to generational differences, but insiders see something else: emotional avoidance. A former palace aide reflected, "Charles seemed to never know how to emotionally connect with Harry as if he wanted to, but didn't know whether he should." If Charles knew that Diana wasn't Harry's biological mother, that emotional wall might be his way of coping with the pain, distancing himself from something he couldn't speak of. And now, as King Charles, he's more than ever the center of attention. But what if the crown isn't the heaviest burden on his shoulders? What if it's this secret? A silent pain that has lasted for decades, but Charles isn't the only one who feels the weight of this mystery. What do you think about this secret? Is King Charles hiding a painful truth about Harry? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let us know, if you were Charles, would you keep this secret or reveal the truth? Don't forget to hit like and share this video. From the very beginning, Harry showed signs that he knew something was different. Even before the memoir, before the headlines, before Meghan, there was a boy searching for something. Something that no one could name until now, the lifelong sense of difference Harry has felt. He called himself the Spare. But what if that title isn't just about royal rank, but about identity? From childhood to adulthood, Harry seems to have always lived in the shadow of something undefined. Now the final pieces may be falling into place in the reserve. Harry described feelings of isolation, of being lost even in his own home, not just in the media, but at family dinners during royal tours and in private moments that should have been warm. A family friend once said, "He laughs the loudest but also seems the loneliest." Teachers recall Harry asking questions that other children didn't, not just about the world, but about himself. Where do I come from? Why do I feel so separate? At the time, it sounded like typical teenage anxiety, but now it seems more like a quiet call for truth. Then came Meghan. She didn't just love Harry, she listened to him and encouraged him to seek out the difficult questions he had always been asking. Meghan is said to have told a close friend, "Now he wants answers deeper than just his lineage." Could this lifelong sense of difference stem from a biological issue? If Harry was raised by a mother who wasn't truly his, and has felt that something has been missing throughout his life, then the pain we see isn't rebellion, it's instinct. If Harry's instinct is telling him the truth, then the silence from the palace becomes deafening. While Harry and Meghan search for answers, Buckingham Palace is doing the opposite, fumbling behind closed doors, consulting legal teams, and preparing to manage the fallout. What are they truly afraid of? The silence of the royal family, their fear. The letter has been revealed, the timeline is unraveling, and Harry's questions are louder than ever. But inside Buckingham, the palace remains in absolute silence. Silence without statements, without explanations. Just quiet corridors, tense meetings, and growing panic. Behind that silence, insiders say it's fear. Why? Because this isn't just about one letter. It's about what else could be out there. A royal source confirms that a private crisis management team has been reactivated, similar to the team used during Meghan and Harry's interview with Oprah. Their new task: to control leaks, manage the fallout, and uncover the original documents. There are whispers now that more letters may have been sent to Diana, to William, or even to Harry himself. If just one more document surfaces, it could be a disaster, not only emotionally but legally, as questions about inheritance titles and royal succession laws could be raised. The legal team is reportedly examining the royal family's ability to conceal documents under the Official Secrets Act. British media are under pressure to avoid publishing any new information, but foreign media, independent investigators, and international tabloids are not bound by the same rules. Still, the truth is beginning to leak out. A royal aide recently said offhandedly, "They're not worried about the truth. They're worried about losing control of the truth." And that truth could be bigger, darker, and more damaging than anyone expected. Because this is no longer just about Harry, it's about the future of the monarchy itself, and that future may depend on one person standing between the past and the crown. Prince William has known the truth. He has kept it hidden all these years. But if he knows and remains silent, then it's no longer just a family secret. It's a betrayal that could tear them apart forever. The pressure of knowing this truth, Prince William, the heir and the face of the modern monarchy, has been raised from birth to lead. But after this letter, his silence is beginning to attract attention and suspicion. Because if this secret was known within the palace, William may have known for a long time. The relationship between William and Harry has always been complicated, yes, but often distant, protective, yet still guarded over the years. Harry has hinted that William always followed the script. Does that script include the secret behind Harry's birth? And if so, how long has William kept that secret? Sources close to the palace suggest that Charles may have confided in William as he reached adulthood, likely during the time Harry began to rebel against royal duties. An insider revealed that there were serious conversations between father and eldest son, and after those conversations, William changed. He became colder and more guarded. If William knew why, didn't he tell Harry loyalty to the monarchy, perhaps out of fear of the consequences? Or did he believe that protecting the crown was more important than protecting the truth about his brother? Now, with this letter being made public, William's silence could be seen as a betrayal not only to Harry, but also to their brotherly relationship. While William remains silent in London, a storm is brewing across the Atlantic in Montecito, California. Harry and Meghan are facing this truth not with silence, but with action. Behind closed doors, Meghan is said to be urging Harry to uncover the entire truth no matter the cost. Meghan, in the aftermath of Montecito, the release of the letter not only shakes the palace, but also rattles the Sussex family. According to sources close to them, Meghan was deeply shaken when she read it, not just because of what it suggests about Diana, but because it confirms many of Harry's suspicions from the very beginning. Meghan has stood by Harry through royal tensions, public scrutiny, and family rejection, but this is different. This is personal. Friends of the couple say that Meghan is now encouraging Harry to go further, consulting legal experts, reaching out to historians, and even pursuing a second memoir focused entirely on identity. An insider in California reveals that they are looking into private DNA experts. Meghan wants him to clarify not just for himself, but for their children. The possibility that Archie and Lilibet's bloodline may carry a mystery is not something they take lightly. The family they are building is based on truth, not royal illusions. And in true Meghan style, she may be preparing to help Harry tell the world through a documentary, a podcast, or a new book, perhaps the next chapter in Harry's story, not about leaving the royal family, but about finally understanding where he truly comes from. As Harry digs into his past, one figure remains hauntingly silent, the late Queen Elizabeth II. The woman who reigned through wars, scandals, and abdications. Did she know the truth from the beginning? And if she did, was she protecting the monarchy, or was she shielding Harry from something he still couldn't handle? What did Elizabeth know about Queen Elizabeth II, the final gatekeeper of royal secrets for over 70 years? She balanced duty with discretion, but when it comes to this letter and the secret, it suggests that her silence might be the most telling clue, revealing much more than those closest to her ever imagined. It is said that the Queen had access to all confidential records, including medical records, letters, and correspondence related to all royal births. This means she may have read the letter from Charles and possibly others. If that's true, she knew. The question is, what did she choose to do with that knowledge? Some believe she tried to handle the matter privately. A court official stated she was always 10 steps ahead. If something as significant as this came up, she would have taken steps to neutralize it quietly. Did her sudden gesture of peace drive the negotiations with Harry in her final years as goodwill? The last meeting between the Queen and Harry in 2022 is now being re-examined. At the time, it was described as warm and sincere, but could it have been a silent confession, a goodbye carrying more meaning than anyone realized? The Queen may have taken many secrets to the grave, and this could be one of them. Even if the Queen knew and said nothing, the question now haunting the monarchy is, if Diana is not Harry's mother, what does that mean for the royal bloodline? Because the crown is not just about ceremony, but also about legacy, and this secret could shake its very foundation with profound implications for the core of royal lineage. If Diana is not Harry's biological mother, the consequences go far beyond their personal pain. It strikes at the heart of what defines royal lineage inheritance: every royal title, every position in the line of succession. Everything depends on one thing: proven ancestry. Prince Harry is currently fifth in line to the British throne, with his children Archie and Lilibet closely following behind. But if it were proven or even widely believed that Harry's maternal link to Diana is false, would that affect their status? Could it strip them of their royal privileges? Legal experts say this could be a serious possibility. Constitutional scholars argue the monarchy is built on an unbroken line of descent. If that descent is altered or questioned, its legitimacy is too. It would open the door to challenges against Harry's past roles, military titles, dukedom, even his royal title. Some now believe this could be why Charles quietly began stripping titles years ago, not out of anger, but to control the fallout from this theory. There is also another perspective on why Archie and Lilibet didn't receive the HRH title when they were born. At the time, it seemed like a punishment, but what if it was a precaution, a way to avoid future legal battles? In a monarchy built on blood, every drop of blood matters. If the monarchy is willing to reshape its rules to conceal this truth, what does that say about the relationship between father and son? Because for Harry, this has never been just about status. It's been about love, trust, and a father who may have chosen silence over connection. As the world absorbs the weight of this revelation, one truth becomes undeniable. Nothing in Prince Harry's story has ever been simple, not his childhood, not his rebellion, and certainly not the question now hanging in every royal hallway: who is Harry's biological mother? The final letter, believed to have been written by King Charles at the twilight of Queen Elizabeth's reign, is very short, but insiders say it was never meant for the public. It was a private farewell from a father to the son he could never fully reach. I raised you in the shadows of my own, but not in my truth. I hope one day you can forgive me. Just that one sentence sparked a storm. Behind the palace doors, legal teams are reportedly working to locate and protect any remaining documents from that era. Meghan and Harry are reportedly weighing their next steps. The truth, they say, is now more important than tradition. But what about William's sources say he remains silent? His public face hasn't changed, but behind the scenes, this revelation could shatter any remaining relationship with his brother. If William knew and stayed silent, then it's not about loyalty or betrayal. The monarchy has survived wars, divorces, and abdications, but this is a potential redefinition of the royal bloodline. In the end, titles no longer hold meaning when trust is lost. As Harry stands on the brink of truth and legacy, one question remains: will he stay silent to protect the crown, or will he finally speak out to reclaim his story? One thing is certain: the truth has been exposed, and the crown will never be the same again. So, in a truly emotional moment, Harry couldn't hold back his tears as the truth was finally revealed. Could this be a turning point in his life and his relationship with the royal family? Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below and hit that like button if you found this story shocking. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss out on more royal secrets. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Welcome back to the channel. Shocking news has just broken out in the UK. Parliament has just passed an emergency bill aimed directly at Meghan Markle after she was accused of illegally using the titles of Prince and Princess for Archie and Lilibet. This is considered an unprecedented challenge to royal law, and now Meghan is not only facing public outrage, but also the risk of being summoned to court. Let's take a closer look at this dramatic confrontation right now. Do you think Meghan Markle is being treated too harshly and unfairly? If so, please comment 1. If you think the Parliament's actions are reasonable, please comment 0 to let me know. And now enjoy the video and don't forget to leave a subscribe to support the channel. In the dead of night beneath the stained glass dome of Parliament, something unprecedented took place. A vote that had been whispered behind closed doors at Westminster for months. It had been discussed over tea in the private dining rooms of the Conservative Party, debated in the legal corners of the House of Lords, and finally exploded on the floor of the House of Commons. With a wave of the hand and a firm nod from the Prime Minister's bench, a bill had been passed that would rewrite the way modern royalty is viewed. A bill that would have repercussions not just in Britain, but around the world, and all because of Meghan Markle. Yes, it was Meghan who walked down the aisle to join the House of Windsor. It was Meghan who once represented the fresh face of the modern monarchy hailed by some as the future of royal diversity, who was now accused of misappropriating royal titles. Titles not for herself, but for her children. The misappropriation was not just in private family circles, but was also allegedly present on public platforms, legal documents, business ventures, and branding efforts far beyond the United Kingdom. The outrage was not just about what she did, it was about what she challenged centuries of royal structures, sacred traditions, and legacies protected by law. What triggered the crisis was not a single event, but a pot of water that boiled over. Over the past year, more and more critics and analysts have raised eyebrows at the way Meghan and Prince Harry have presented their two children, Archie Harrison and Lilibet Diana, in digital statements, media interviews, school applications, and even promotional materials tied to charitable endeavors. The titles Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet began to appear. Initially, many assumed it was an innocent oversight, a hopeful parental ambition, or perhaps a misunderstanding. This is because the rules around royal styles and titles are often fluid and easily misinterpreted, especially for children born outside the direct line of succession. But insiders say the problem runs much deeper. Parliament has received private legal complaints from watchdog groups, legal scholars, and even individuals with past ties to the royal family, all of whom allege that Meghan has deliberately used royal titles without permission in a way that violates royal protocol and national laws that govern the sovereignty of the nation. With speculation that the Sussexes' children have never been officially granted HRH status, a simmering storm has developed into a full-blown constitutional crisis. The bill known as the Royal Titles Integrity and Protection Act is unlike anything modern Britain has ever seen. The new bill, which has just been passed by the British Parliament, has caused a stir by officially putting Meghan Markle under legal control. According to the text, Meghan has exactly 14 days to remove all unauthorized uses of her royal title from public documents, her personal website, her business papers, and even the school records of her two children, Archie and Lilibet. If she fails to comply, she will face a summons from a UK court. The listed charges include impersonating a member of the royal family, title fraud, and a serious breach of the Royal Titles and Styles Act 1953, a law that has never been used in a court case before. To understand how things have become so tense, we need to look back at the chain of events that has led to this unprecedented confrontation. Meghan, who was once greeted with a fairy tale wedding, now faces criminal charges in her own country. Her journey from royal bride to global sensation is a story of seemingly quiet but provocative moves and public statements that have never pleased the royal family. This is not just a family dispute. It is a legal battle that could change how Britain views royal power and its limits in the 21st century. The story of Meghan and Harry's departure from royal duties has been well documented, but the story of what happened next, the quiet battle over identity titles and legitimacy, is still unfolding. Why do titles matter so much? To most people, especially outside the UK, they may seem purely ceremonial, an outdated relic, a crown and a name. But in the UK and the wider Commonwealth, titles are more than tradition. They are titles established by law conveying constitutional authority, royal inheritance, and access to the mechanisms of the monarchy. Using royal titles without permission isn't just rude, it's a violation of the structure that governs the line of succession itself. According to sources close to Buckingham Palace, the issue began to boil over when Meghan's team allegedly filed paperwork referring to Archie and Lilibet using their royal titles in their official capacity. This wasn't just a birthday card or a children's book. These were forms related to legal guardianship, school admissions tax returns, and even international travel. Government officials who reviewed the files flagged them, noting that the use of prince and princess may not have been officially approved under any royal charter or degree. But what really escalated the situation was the digital footprint. Meghan and Harry's Archewell Foundation website, according to many legal observers, contained sections where the children were listed by their titles without any disclaimers or context. Press releases and public statements were seen as leaning on the royal brand while distancing themselves from the Crown's responsibilities. Critics called it hypocrisy. Parliament called it fraud. The implications were staggering. If Meghan were found guilty of using these titles without official approval from the Crown, her actions could fall under laws typically used to prosecute individuals who impersonate law enforcement officers or counterfeit military medals. This is more than just a slap on the wrist. If found guilty under the new bill, Meghan Markle could face significant fines and be forced to publicly correct false statements about her royal title. In the most serious scenario, she could even be banned from entering the UK based on national security protocols. This leaves many wondering, how did a seemingly personal dispute escalate into a state matter with direct intervention from Parliament? What do you think about Meghan Markle's decision to give Archie and Lilibet titles without permission, causing the British Parliament to be angry and pass a bill against the Sussexes? If you support the decision of the Parliament, comment number 2, and if you side with Meghan and Harry, comment number 5. Enjoy the video, leave a sub to support the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the hottest developments about the British royal family. According to reports from The Times and The Guardian, the story has been brewing since early spring when members of the House of Commons began discussing the Sussexes' unchecked use of their royal titles abroad. Pressure has come from conservative groups, legal scholars, and traditionalists concerned about the dangerous precedent that commercialization of royal titles would set. Conservative MPs, along with a significant portion of the Labour Party, have pushed through the bill called the Protection and Integrity of the Royal Titles Act, which passed its first reading with remarkable speed and bipartisan support. Even skeptics were surprised by the determination and speed with which Parliament moved. Within 72 hours, the bill had passed its third reading in the House of Commons and had the backing of the House of Lords. Chancellor Rishi Sunak signed it into law without delay, making it clear that this was not just a royal matter, but also a matter of national identity and legal sovereignty. Behind the scenes, however, the palace is said to be divided. Sources say King Charles is torn between protecting the reputation of the monarchy and shielding his son's family from public humiliation. Camilla is said to be deeply concerned about what this means for the royal family's image, especially after years of trying to restore her public image. Prince William, on the other hand, is said to have quietly supported the move as a way to strengthen the crown's authority and cut off what he sees as dangerous brand manipulation. As for Harry, his silence has been remarkable. Neither he nor Meghan have issued an official response since the bill was passed. No press releases, no interviews, not even a public denial. Their silence is starting to speak louder than any words. Why aren't they defending the use of the title, and why is Meghan taking legal risks for what many might consider a trivial name on paper? The answer may lie in the lucrative branding power that comes with being a royal, especially in Hollywood. Titles open doors, help land interviews, and bring prestige, admiration, and even sponsorship. For a woman whose life revolves around media deals, children's books, and social engagements, the words prince and princess carry a marketing heft that few other terms can match. But British law is not concerned with American-style branding, and the monarchy especially now seems unwilling to let symbol overwhelm structure. At a time when the monarchy is under intense scrutiny, from rumors about King Charles's health to growing Republican movements allowing the unauthorized use of the title, could disrupt more than just its public image. It could set a legal precedent that could cause chaos for a centuries-old institution. This video takes you behind the scenes of that chaos. We'll take you through the events that sparked the fury of Parliament, the closed-door conversations between lawmakers and palace insiders, and the legal consequences Meghan now faces. You'll see the real-life consequences of treating the royal identity like a brand. By the end, you'll understand not just the law, but the legacy at stake. The first real crack didn't come from a dramatic court filing or an eloquent speech in Parliament. It came quietly via a seemingly innocuous social media update posted on the Archewell Foundation's website. Tucked into a message celebrating Lilibet Diana's birthday, a line caught the attention of keen observers. "We are delighted to celebrate Princess Lilibet's special day with community donations made in her honor." The word princess wasn't just a parental term of endearment, it was official, deliberate, and repeated. Within hours, the story had gone viral on royal-watching forums. Was it an honest mistake, a deliberate PR stunt, or a more calculated move? For many in Britain's ruling circles, this was more than just a branding strategy. It was a red line that Meghan Markle had finally crossed. The phrase title fraud began to appear frequently in the media and on social media. Retired civil servants, constitutional scholars, and royal law experts began to comment publicly. At the same time, many former royal aides whispered to the press that Meghan's use of royal titles for her children had been a simmering concern at Buckingham Palace for more than a year. The core of the scandal is emerging the sense that the Sussexes, Harry and Meghan, are trying to redefine the concept of royal on their own terms. Since stepping back from official royal duties in 2020, the couple have never really left the limelight. They have insisted on a desire to retain some of their royal identity, especially the global recognition that comes with it. Although Queen Elizabeth II has allowed them to keep the titles of Duke and Duchess of Sussex, their use of the HRH, His, Her, Royal Highness titles has been quietly suspended, and the pair have been told they will no longer be official representatives of the crown. What followed was a complex dance between respecting the institution and exploiting its presence. Meghan and Harry launched multi-million-dollar content deals, published memoirs and children's books, and spoke at global summits. They carefully cultivated a hybrid identity, no longer working royals, but still close enough to the royal family to attract attention on the world stage. For months, the strategy worked. The Archwell Foundation attracted high-profile donors, and their Netflix documentary series broke records. Invitations to the Met Gala and other elite events quietly trickled in. However, mentions of the titles have since begun to appear more assertively, particularly in digital and legal documents associated with their children. Critics have pointed to charity documents, press releases, and travel documents allegedly filed with both the British and U.S. governments that include the titles Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. Neither title has ever been officially confirmed by Buckingham Palace through a public statement or new diploma, which is the usual way for titles to be officially bestowed on royal offspring. Yet, on American soil, the Sussexes are being introduced to the world not simply as members of a famous family, but as full-fledged royals. Schools reportedly listed them by title on admissions documents and even tax forms, and legal documents related to California residency reference the titles. What was once subtle became unavoidable. The situation became serious when British reporters discovered a legal document attached to a U.S. trademark application. The document, allegedly filed by a representative of the Archwell organization, referred to Her Royal Highness Princess Lilibet Diana of Sussex in a section related to branding and publishing. For many royal experts, this was irrefutable evidence as it tied the title to commerce. The monarchy, a centuries-old institution defined by tradition, is now being dragged into the realm of market capitalization. Within 48 hours of the leak, a firestorm had erupted in the British Parliament. Some lawmakers who had long criticized the Sussexes' independence from traditional royal duties seized the moment. MPs on both sides of the political aisle began drafting formal complaints to the Prime Minister's office. Legal experts were called in to assess the viability of a law to curb the unauthorized use of royal titles. And in private whispers, rumors began to spread that King Charles himself was deeply uncomfortable with the use of titles he had not formally bestowed. The issue is not just about branding. It goes to the heart of what the monarchy means to the British public. If a former royal can bestow titles on their children outside the authority of the crown, what stops others from doing the same? Could any descendant of a royal simply declare their child a prince or princess? Could someone marry into the family, abandon their duties, and still claim the prestige of royal lineage for their children? For some in Parliament, that possibility represents a constitutional collapse. At the heart of the outrage is the idea that royal titles are not decorative. They are legal representations and symbols of national identity, defining lineage and tying individuals to the very fabric of British governance. Unauthorized use threatens not only the perception of the monarchy, but also the functional integrity of the succession. With King Charles's reign still relatively new and public sentiment towards the crown shifting following the death of Queen Elizabeth, there has been growing pressure on Parliament to assert legal control. The push for action has escalated after a number of legal figures, including a retired High Court judge and a former Solicitor General, published editorials. They argued that unapproved use of the title could constitute a breach of the Royal Titles and Styles Act. That law, originally designed to protect the dignity of royal titles, has not been invoked for decades. But now the legal precedent is being revisited, and lawmakers see an opportunity to make a historic stand. One of the most vocal was MP Geraldine Rowe, who delivered a scathing speech. "We cannot allow individuals who have abandoned the responsibilities of the monarchy to continue to exploit its assets in ways that benefit them financially," she said. "They are diluting what it means to the rest of us," she continued. "Royal titles are not toys. Using them without authority is not only dishonest, it is dangerous." What followed was a wave of bipartisan support. MPs from across the political spectrum issued official statements calling for immediate action. Public petitions began circulating online, some gathering more than 100,000 signatures in a matter of days, calling for a legal framework to limit the indiscriminate use of the title. The media began calling it the Markle Clause, a tongue-in-cheek reference to the proposed new law. And behind the scenes, the palace remained silent, but not idle. Insiders reported a series of exchanges between royal advisors and the Prime Minister's legal team. A senior aide to King Charles is said to have been involved in drafting early versions of the bill. He helped define language that would protect the interests of the monarchy without inviting accusations of political interference. For the first time in decades, the Crown and Parliament appear to be acting in unison. Meanwhile, Meghan's team has remained remarkably silent. There have been no rebuttals, no interviews, no legal filings challenging the allegations. This lack of response has only added to the public perception that something serious is going on behind the scenes. Was Meghan seeking legal advice, preparing to comply, or preparing to fight for Parliament? The lack of cooperation cemented its decision. The time for debate was over. The time for action had arrived. And so, late on a Monday evening, the Royal Titles, Integrity and Protection Act was introduced to the floor of the House of Commons. Within days, it had passed through its early stages, and by the end of the week, it was on the brink of becoming law. The tipping point had arrived. A high-profile couple's attempt to brand themselves through their royal heritage has sparked a legal and political backlash. The consequences extend far beyond Sussex, California. What began as a birthday announcement has ended with Parliament preparing to drag a duchess into court. And for Meghan, the countdown has begun. It's not a normal day in Parliament. The session has been extended by 3 hours to accommodate what officials have called an emergency debate. The subject had not initially appeared on the public agenda. The sudden inclusion of the Royal Title Protection and Integrity Bill sent shockwaves through the media and political establishment. Journalists, accustomed to predictable discussions of tax policy and infrastructure spending, were scrambling to cover it. It was perhaps the most explosive piece of royal-related legislation since the abdication crisis of 1936. The Speaker of the House of Commons entered with a frown on his face, his gavel coming down harder than usual. He called for order as murmurs spread through the chamber. In the front row were MPs with thick files, many of them labeled Royal Secret Affairs. Tension hung in the air. Those familiar with the inner workings of Parliament could tell that this was not a ceremonial move designed to generate headlines. This was a serious matter, and there was a sense in the chamber that something had gone too far. The institution of the monarchy needed to be protected through legislative action. As the formal debate began, the bill's sponsor, Conservative MP Jonathan Aldridge, stood up to speak. A staunch monarchist and former legal advisor to the Home Office, Aldridge's words were carefully chosen but filled with anger. "We are gathered here today not to strip anyone of their dignity, but to preserve the dignity of an institution that defines us as a nation," he said. "The unauthorized use of royal titles, particularly by individuals who have formally retired from service to the Crown, cannot go unchecked. This is not about family disputes. This is about the integrity of the nation." A murmur of approval followed. On the opposite bench, Labour MP Saffron Woodgate stood next. Not a known royalist, Woodgate surprised even her colleagues with the seriousness of her tone. "I have disagreed with the monarchy more times than I can count," she said, "but I agree with this bill. What Meghan Markle has done is not merely crossing a cultural boundary. She has crossed a legal boundary. And if we do not act, we are signaling to the world that Britain's most sacred institutions are open to commercial exploitation." The chamber erupted in cheers and applause, briefly interrupting the debate as the chair banged the gavel and called for silence. Outside in the media rooms, broadcasters scrambled to change the night's coverage. BBC analysts whispered into earpieces while Sky News tweaked graphics mid-air. What started as speculation turned into a historic moment. Opposition to the bill was surprisingly thin. A few MPs expressed concern about targeting a former royal who was now a public figure abroad. Liberal Democrat MP Hannah Markham warned of the international backlash that could result from pursuing legal action against a former duchess now living in the U.S. Let us be careful not to make martyrs of those who still want to reconcile with this country, she pleaded. But her words were met with tepid applause, quickly drowned out by a rebuttal from a Scottish National Party MP who reminded the chamber that reconciliation begins with accountability. The frustration was consistent across the party lines. Some lawmakers expressed outrage at the idea that royal identity was being rebranded as what one MP called a lifestyle accessory. He pointedly referred to the use of titles on Netflix promotional material and book launches. Conservative MP Elspeth Troway scoffed, "If we allow this to continue, every celebrity whose cousin is married to a member of the royal family will be able to sell tea towels stamped with the crown." But perhaps the most moving moment of the night came from an unlikely source veteran MP, Sir Clive Fenwick. He has been a quiet presence in the House of Commons for more than 30 years. He rarely dabbles in royal matters. His voice trembles as he talks about growing up under Queen Elizabeth and watching the institution evolve through war, scandal, and reform. The monarchy is not perfect, he says. It has stumbled, it has been criticized, it has even been vilified. But it has survived. It has endured because it is anchored by rules. And rules, when broken, are an invitation to chaos. As he sat down, a momentary silence fell over the chamber. Even seasoned commentators admitted they had never seen Parliament unite around a royal issue with such clarity. The bill itself was simple in wording but powerful in its impact. It imposed criminal penalties on individuals who used British royal titles in any official legal or commercial capacity without the approval of Buckingham Palace or the monarch. It created protections for satire and fiction, but made it clear that any real-world use tied to a contract financial gain or public representation would require the approval of the Crown. Crucially, it sets out a 14-day compliance period specifically designed to give Meghan Markle time to withdraw use of the title from all platforms and legal filings before facing a trial. During the debate, MPs read out excerpts from trademark applications allegedly filed by Meghan's legal team in the U.S. They used them as evidence that the unauthorized titles had moved beyond cultural use into the realm of commerce. You don't trademark a child's name unless there's financial value to the name, one MP said, holding up the filing. And you don't assign the prefix princess without authority unless your intention is to create legitimacy. One of the more surprising revelations came when a minister confirmed that the Prime Minister had received a live briefing from Buckingham Palace on the matter in recent weeks. The palace is said to have expressed deep concern about the reputational damage caused by the continued misuse of the title. They also urged Parliament to take whatever action they considered appropriate to protect the monarchy's standing. The revelation that the royal family had been quietly encouraging legislative action was met with gasps of astonishment from the press. While the royal family typically avoids influencing Parliament, their rare intervention underlined the seriousness with which the palace views Meghan's actions. As the debate dragged on into the evening, a consensus emerged. More than a matter of political image or media reaction, this was becoming a referendum on the future of royal power in a modern digital world. If anyone could brand themselves as royal and make money from it, what did titles mean? Just before midnight, the final vote was called. The room, though weary, was buzzing with anticipation. The chair read the motion aloud, and the cheers were louder than anyone had expected. Harry thought about how family traditions are passed down. They're not always written down or spoken aloud. Sometimes they're expressed through the things people leave behind for each other. A small item like this watch can carry more meaning than anything else. It can convey things that words can't express, holding stories that only time can tell. This watch had done just that. It had moved through generations in the family without ever being forgotten, and now it had come to Archie, creating a thread that connects the generations. That royal identity, especially when attached to children who may one day be asked to take their place in history, is not something to negotiate, interpret, or rebrand internationally. Outside, the media frenzy is back on. Headlines blaze across the morning newsstands. Titlegate explodes in House of Commons, one paper proclaimed. Meghan faces legal ultimatum, another screamed. American television networks scrambled to cover the breaking news, spinning it in a variety of ways, from royal repression to constitutional abuse of power. But inside Westminster, the mood was neither celebratory nor vengeful. It was calm, determined, and acutely aware of the historical weight of what had just happened. The heated debate did more than expose the cracks in the Sussexes' story. It forced Britain to confront anew the question it had been avoiding since Harry and Meghan left the palace gates. Can someone really leave the monarchy while still carrying its crown in their pocket? At first glance, the Royal Titles, Integrity and Protection Act seemed straightforward. It's just a few dozen pages of parliamentary language and legal definitions carefully laid out in plain text. But beneath the surface of this legislative document lies one of the most powerful constitutional weapons ever aimed at a member of the royal family. More specifically, at a former royal. The timing, choice of language, and targeted nature of the provisions suggest it was written with meticulous precision, and Meghan Markle is right at the center of this legal barrage. The bill's formal preamble begins, "An act to preserve the dignity and constitutional role of royal titles in the United Kingdom." It also aims to prevent their unauthorized use in any capacity that may mislead the public, create commercial advantage, or misrepresent the official lineage and heritage of the crown. That first sentence isn't just bureaucratic, it's intentional. It sets the tone for a law that isn't meant to address a hypothetical abuse, but rather to intervene in a real ongoing crisis. The bill is divided into 5 sections, each covering a separate area of enforcement. These areas range from digital media to legal documents, and it carefully carves out exceptions for use in satire, parody, and journalism. In short, it's not about policing language. It's about restricting the unauthorized use of titles in any context where they might imply legitimacy, endorsement, or institutional connection. Part 1 of the bill sets out the definitions. Here, royal titles are explicitly defined as any title granted by a degree including Your Highness, Prince, Princess, and any title associated with royal decrees or family affiliation. Importantly, the bill clarifies that the presence of a family connection does not automatically grant the right to use it. This is important because it addresses a gray area that Meghan and Harry often relied on, that their children are entitled by birthright to those titles. Under this law, birthright is not a defense. Only a formal designation by the reigning monarch supported by a document or declaration allows use. Section 2 outlines specific prohibitions. It prohibits the use of royal titles in any public documents, promotional material, or digital platforms unless authorized. This list includes, but is not limited to, nonprofit websites, children's school records, social media bios, interview introductions, podcast recordings, brand profiles, and more. Importantly, the law also prohibits such use across all commercial projects, products, book titles, advertising, and endorsements. Any attempt to monetize a royal title even indirectly is now considered a punishable offense. This section of the bill goes further than expected, targeting proxy representation. This means that a third party, such as an administrator, lawyer, or family member, cannot use titles and official representations unless they have received royal permission. This wording eliminates the possibility of plausible deniability or outsourced branding decisions. It places responsibility on individuals regardless of who disseminates the title. Section 3 deals with enforcement. This is where the bill gets particularly aggressive. When unauthorized use is discovered, the Crown Prosecution Service is empowered to issue a formal infringement notice. This notice requires compliance with the removal of the unauthorized title from all platforms and media within 14 calendar days. The clock starts ticking from the moment the notice is issued. Failure to comply would automatically trigger a summons to appear before a UK High Court judge. The bill also sets out penalties. First-time offenders would be fined up to £250,000 for each instance of misuse of the titles. That means if the titles appeared in 10 different legal or commercial documents, Meghan could theoretically face a total fine of $2.5 million. More importantly, repeated or deliberate breaches could result in criminal charges with penalties including a formal ban. In extreme cases, UK-based assets tied to brand activity could be frozen. One of the more prominent provisions in this section allows British courts to work with international bodies under reciprocal copyright and trademark laws. In simple terms, this means that the government can reach across borders to compel digital platforms based in the US or elsewhere to remove content or material containing unauthorized titles. While enforcement would require cooperation through mutual legal assistance treaties, this mechanism has now been codified in law. The provision is clearly designed to prevent the Sussexes from using US-based protections to shield their branding activities from UK scrutiny. Section 4 deals with exemptions. This is where lawmakers ensure that the law cannot be accused of stifling free speech or creativity. Documentaries, works of fiction, satire, parody, educational content, and journalism are explicitly protected. This means that a Netflix drama about the royal family can refer to Prince Archie as a character. However, a real-life press release from a charity cannot. This distinction is important. It is the intention and representation that matters, not simply the words used. Finally, Section 5 outlines the mechanisms for complaints and review. If someone receives a notice of infringement and believes it is flawed or politically motivated, they can file an objection within a 14-day compliance period. A special judicial panel will be set up to review such cases within 30 days of filing. The panel must include at least one judge with experience in constitutional law and one expert in royal protocol. This measure, while procedural, has been included to ensure the law will stand up to scrutiny in both domestic and international courts. But while the bill is written in legalese, its political and cultural implications cannot be ignored. The bill does not name Meghan Markle, and no specific incident is mentioned. Yet every observer, every MP, and every member of the press understands that this legislation is not a blanket protection. It is a direct response. It is a law born of frustration of constitutional anxiety. It also stems from a growing belief within the British establishment that the royal identity is not something to be marketed, monetized, or mishandled even by a former duchess. According to senior government officials, the Royal Titles Integrity and Protection Act went through no fewer than 7 internal drafts before it was passed. The drafting process involved extensive consultation with legal experts, constitutional scholars, and even experienced former royals. Fierce debates took place behind closed doors over the scope of the law, weighing how far it should go to protect the institution without provoking an overreaction. Some early drafts proposed revoking the titles altogether, while others wanted to place the use of them under direct control of the Privy Council. Ultimately, a compromise was reached that focused on protecting the public identity and legal clarity of the royal family. However, the provision of a 14-day compliance period caused controversy in legal circles and the media. Government sources said lawmakers wanted to send a strong and clear message to the Sussexes about how seriously they were taking the matter. This isn't about symbolism, it's about implementation, and they want Meghan to know that hesitation will be seen as resistance. Silence, they imply, will speak volumes. What makes the bill all the more explosive is its timing. Introduced so soon after Meghan and Harry's most recent appearance at a high-profile Hollywood event where they were introduced with eye-catching titles, it feels like an act of retaliation. But defenders say it's too little too late. For years, there has been growing unease about the way the Sussexes have balanced royal symbolism with the independence of American-style celebrities. The law, they say, merely restores lines that should never have been blurred. But legal experts warn that enforcement will be challenging. Cross-border enforcement is notoriously slow, and Meghan is no longer a UK resident. While her projects may include links to Britain, most of her operations are based in the US. But the message is clear: the UK will no longer allow royal status to become a global free-for-all. At its core, the bill is not about punishing a former royal. It is about defining where royalty ends and misappropriation begins. For centuries, the British crown has been both a symbolic and a legal institution. Allowing its titles to become a casual branding tool risks diminishing its dignity, undermining public trust, and rewriting history by omission. In essence, the Royal Titles Integrity and Protection Act is a line in the sand. Parliament has made it clear that you cannot benefit from the royal legacy without following royal law. Titles are earned, not assumed, bestowed, not borrowed, and anyone, regardless of reputation, fortune, or family name, who tries to treat them otherwise will face the full force of constitutional justice. The passage of the Royal Titles Integrity and Protection Act sent shockwaves far beyond Westminster. Within hours of its passage, lawyers began parsing every line of the text. Digital media companies across the UK combed through their archives to ensure compliance. Talk shows invited constitutional experts overnight, and quietly behind the glass doors of London law offices, the legal purge of Meghan Markle began to unfold. The language of the bill is clear: anyone found to be misusing a royal title, even outside the UK, could be held liable. This would happen if the misuse involved British authority, whether through commerce and online presence, or branding involving British citizens or organizations. And Meghan's branding, which is largely tied to her charity work and media projects that involve activities in the UK, would fall squarely within that scope. The first official move came just 3 days after the bill became law. Meghan Markle has been served with a legal notice from the UK's Crown Prosecution Service. The proceedings were not dramatic. There were no police officers present or televised confrontations. Instead, the formal notice was sent via diplomatic mail to Meghan's legal representatives in Los Angeles. But the letter came with a clear deadline. She had just 14 calendar days to fully comply. That meant removing all digital mentions, all press releases, and eliminating any official appearances of Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet in any setting that suggested official royal recognition. The letter also makes clear the serious consequences if Meghan fails to comply within the stipulated time. If the changes are not made, a High Court judge will issue a formal summons for her to appear in London. While she has the right to contest the charges, and appeal failure to appear without a valid reason could trigger additional legal action, making the situation more complicated and unpredictable than ever. These mechanisms include asset searches and public reprimands. Legal analysts were quick to comment. Some said enforcement would be difficult because Meghan is an American citizen residing in the United States. She has no active businesses in the UK beyond a few charities and a small publishing estate. Others disagreed, pointing out that branding digital platforms and even charitable work tied to the royal image are still subject to British scrutiny if they affect British citizens or use identifiers associated with the monarchy. But the real shock came when it was revealed that the Crown Prosecution Service had quietly begun collecting documents. More than 20 pieces of evidence were collected, including screenshots from websites, records from the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, and promotional materials from Archewell-related ventures. A leaked internal memo dated weeks before the bill passed showed that legal teams had been monitoring Meghan's branding efforts for months, perhaps even a year. The document listed a number of potential violations. These included the use of the name Princess Lilibet in charity announcements. The list also includes the inclusion of Prince Archie in sponsorship recognition letters sent to British citizens. It also includes appearances in children's books and educational content marketed under royal-style designations. Even mentions in Meghan's speeches at public events are listed. The memo argues that each case was presented without formal recognition from the British monarch, violating constitutional customs and legal frameworks. In response, Meghan's legal team issued a brief statement to select U.S. media outlets. The Duchess of Sussex has always acted in good faith and in the best interests of her children, the statement read. She has not received any formal communication challenging her use of the titles bestowed at birth under current royal protocols. It was a measured, non-specific denial that resonated emotionally but avoided any direct engagement with the requirements of the new law. In the UK, however, the statement was not well received. MPs accused her of defiance. Commentators said the wording implied Meghan viewed her children's royal status as something inherited and irrevocable, regardless of the Crown's views. This has raised an uncomfortable question. Is Meghan preparing to fight the lawsuit not with compliance but with defiance? Rumors have circulated that Meghan could invoke international protections under U.S. law. Some experts predict she will try to argue that the new UK law violates free speech and parental rights. Others suspect she may try to blame her team, arguing that any misuse of the title was the result of staff oversight, not personal intent. But under the language of the new law, such defenses will carry little weight. Responsibility lies with the individual who benefits from the unauthorized use of the title. In the days that followed, British legal authorities began preparing for a potential high-profile confrontation. Judges were notified and a legal panel was chosen to consider Meghan's appeal. Digital forensics experts began preserving evidence of her use of the title in case Meghan tried to erase her digital traces and deny the violations. What began as a political ruckus now had all the makings of an international legal battle. Amid the legal storm, there was also talk of enforcement. Would Meghan actually be forced to appear in a UK court? And what if she didn't? Would the British government seek to get the U.S. Department of Justice involved? Could they ask for cross-border cooperation through treaties like the UK Mutual Legal Assistance Treaty? Legal scholars say that while extradition for such an offense is unlikely because it does not qualify as a criminal act under most international protocols, the UK could still take symbolic action. This could include travel restrictions and asset freeze on any UK-related accounts, or an official reprimand that would follow her public image across the Commonwealth. If Meghan tries to visit the UK in the future, such as for a royal event, a funeral, or a charity event, she could be served with paperwork upon entry. Pressure is also starting to mount in unexpected places. Several British charities that have worked with Archewell have received letters from their legal departments advising them to remove or revise any advertising that references the Sussexes' royal titles. A prominent children's literacy organization quietly removed the name Princess Lilibet from its website over legal concerns. In private circles in Los Angeles, the mood is said to have changed. Insiders say Meghan has been taken aback by the speed and severity of the backlash. She expected criticism. She has endured it for years from British tabloids and royal traditionalists. But this is different. This is not commentary, this is prosecution. And now she faces a legal framework designed to target her. Reports from her inner circle suggest that Meghan is carefully weighing her options. Will she fight and turn the incident into an international human rights debate, or will she quietly comply and let the public outcry die down? Each option has consequences. Complying could be seen as an admission of guilt, potentially damaging the image of principled independence the Sussexes have carefully cultivated. On the other hand, defiance could escalate the situation into a transatlantic legal battle, drawing Archie and Lilibet even further into the public eye. Complicating matters further is the question of Prince Harry's role. So far, he has remained silent. But if Meghan decides to fight the charges, she may need him to publicly assert that his children's titles were used with his permission. Doing so, however, would put him in direct conflict with his father, King Charles, potentially irreparably fracturing an already fragile family relationship. And there's another complication. If Meghan faces legal action, any public defense could open the door to cross-examination. Her legal team would be forced to produce documents, emails, internal memos, and branding plans that could reveal how carefully her use of the titles was calculated. If it becomes clear that the titles were deliberately used to build a brand and make money, public sympathy could evaporate even among her supporters in the United States. In Britain, the tone of the press has changed rapidly. Meghan, once portrayed as a woman unfairly excluded from royal life, is now framed as someone trying to rewrite the rules to suit her ambitions. Headlines question whether she has finally gone too far. Commentaries debate whether the royal family should ever be allowed to become a private brand. Even voices who once defended Meghan have begun to express concern. The legal consequences are no longer theoretical. They have begun. The countdown to the 14-day deadline is ringing louder with each passing hour. All eyes are now on one woman. Will Meghan Markle bow to the power of the crown she has relinquished, or will she choose to defy and force a court battle that could redefine what it means to carry on the Windsor legacy? In the quiet rooms of Clarence House, away from the glare of the media and the tabloid headlines, a very different storm is brewing. Unlike the public fury in Parliament or the legal notices in Los Angeles, King Charles's anger is a slow burn. It is an accumulation of slights, broken trusts, and what he sees as a flagrant betrayal of the institution he now leads. This isn't about political theater or brand battles. It's personal. It began with a series of discreet communications between palace aides and Meghan's team. Early last spring, after reports of unauthorized use of the title emerged, a senior advisor to King Charles tried to arrange a private meeting with Meghan's representatives. The goal was simple: to demand an explanation, secure a commitment to stop further abuse, and preserve family unity. Meeting invitations were never returned. Calls went unanswered. Emails were dismissed on the grounds that they were under legal review. Such silence is rare in royal circles. Normally, even the most estranged family member would respond through an official channel, but Meghan's avoidance only added to Charles's frustration. To him, it signaled a disregard not only for the rules of the monarchy, but also for the personal appeals of a father who had always treated her with kindness. In private palace, staff noted that Charles felt emotionally and institutionally hurt. A second, more urgent attempt at outreach came in writing a letter drafted by Sir Christopher Geidt, the king's trusted private secretary. The letter reminded Meghan of her public pledges to respect the crown, referencing her wedding vows to honor and respect the royal family. It outlined specific instances of the title being used, which had been recorded by the palace's legal staff, and demanded that it be withdrawn immediately. There was no response. It was this silence, insiders say, that turned Charles's annoyance into rage. Private sources say that on the morning he learned of the bill's progress through Parliament, he threw a hardback book, a volume of constitutional law, across his office. He then summoned senior staff and told them to ensure no one played with what this family stands for. Charles's private fury was not directed solely at Meghan. Much of his anger was directed at advisors he believed had mishandled the situation. Some senior courtiers are said to have urged caution, warning that legislative action could appear vindictive. Others suggested the matter could be resolved quietly through palace protocol. But Charles, still mourning his mother's legacy and determined to protect his own dynasty, dismissed them. He believed a tough public response was needed to demonstrate that the crown would not be undermined by celebrity influence. In the weeks before the bill was introduced, palace insiders describe a frenetic back and forth. Charles met with his private legal counsel daily, reviewing drafts of parliamentary language and making edits. He consulted constitutional scholars, asking detailed questions about comparative precedents in European monarchies. He even considered the impact on public opinion. He asked advisors to prepare briefing papers on historical public reactions to past royal disputes. At the heart of his private consultations was a single question. The question was, what is the point of being king if your power can be leased to a former member of the royal family? For Charles, the issue was existential. The crown was more than a symbolic head. It represented centuries of continuity, a living thread that had run through wars, reforms, and revolutions. If anyone could borrow its symbol at will, the fundamental premise of the monarchy, its sanctity, would be eroded. But Charles did not reveal these existential reflections publicly. His official statements remained measured and focused on constitutional norms. In a rare brief speech to the audience, he simply noted that the integrity of the crown must be maintained. It was a nod to the fact that the family, through him, had commissioned the law to protect it. Behind closed doors, however, his words were far more strident. In private letters to his eldest son, Prince William Charles admitted that he felt slighted and disrespected by the Sussexes' actions. William, who had quietly supported the bill in Parliament, responded in a letter of solidarity. "Father, I stand with you. The crown must be protected." The letters were circulated within a small circle of senior royals, cementing the family's united front, at least publicly, against Meghan's use of the title. But not everyone in the royal inner circle agrees with Charles's approach. Some worry that the spectacle of public family conflict will do more harm to the monarchy's image than Meghan's mistake. Senior aides question whether the king is letting personal feelings override constitutional action. One described the atmosphere as tense, somber, and haunted by what-ifs. Another whispered that few had seen Charles so consumed by anger since his mother's funeral a few months ago. The king, however, pressed on. He ordered that no palace events involving Archie or Lilibet could go ahead until the title issue was resolved. He quietly asked press officers to prepare talking points to deal with potential leaks or misinformation from the Sussexes. He even ordered his security team to monitor any public events Meghan and Harry attended in the UK if they chose to test the boundaries of the law. The private fury reached a fever pitch the evening before the bill's final reading in Parliament. According to insiders, Charles dined alone in the royal chapel at Buckingham Palace. He went over the final draft line by line. His face, seen by only a handful of witnesses, was stern, determined, and unwavering. He knew that once the bill was passed, there would be no turning back. At 11:47 p.m., the king sent a brief coded message to the prime minister: proceed as agreed. It was the green light Parliament needed to complete the bill. Months of private rage, fueled by silence and perceived betrayal, was transformed into decisive legislative action that would define the early years of Charles's reign. Still, Charles felt burdened by the personal cost. He knew the bill would further alienate Meghan and put her and Harry on deeper conflict with the monarchy. He understood that some would see it as heavy-handed, even vindictive. But in his mind, there was a larger obligation to history, to the institution, that he would one day pass on to his grandchildren. He also had an obligation to the millions of people who still looked to the crown as a symbol of stability and service. After the bill passed, Charles briefly retreated to Balmoral in Scotland, seeking peace in the Highlands. There, amid the heather-covered hills, he reflected on the extraordinary steps he had taken. He considered the precedent he had set, the Act of Parliament specifically targeting a member of his own family, and he wondered, as kings before him had, whether the weight of the crown would ever allow for a simple pardon. But for now, there would be no pardon. The next move was Meghan's, and Charles would be watching closely. His private rage became public law, and in the transformation, he believed he had saved the monarchy title by title. Within hours of the Crown Prosecution Service's compliance announcement, Meghan Markle's team was in crisis mode. Until then, their public messages had been carefully calibrated to balance sympathy and strength. They had portrayed Meghan as a modern royal navigating ancient traditions, a woman who had endured relentless media scrutiny and institutional bias. But now, with a binding legal deadline and the threat of a subpoena hanging over their heads, the Sussexes faced a dilemma. On the morning of the announcement in Los Angeles, Meghan's chief communications strategist convened a virtual meeting with her legal team brand managers and a small group of trusted advisors. The agenda was clear: how to respond in a way that minimized legal risk, maintained public support, and preserved the couple's carefully crafted narrative of principled independence. The instructions were immediate: acknowledge the letter without admitting wrongdoing, express a willingness to cooperate, and emphasize Meghan's good faith belief that her children's titles were bestowed upon them at birth. But executing that instruction proved tricky. A simple press release risks being perceived as a cliché. A live interview might open the door to hostile questions. Instead, the team developed a three-pronged approach. The approach focused on an open letter, controlled social media messaging, and selected sympathetic media placements. First was the open letter, which was posted on Archewell's website under the headline, "A Mother's Duty." The letter was addressed directly to our friends and supporters around the world. In carefully measured language, Meghan wrote that she had always sought to honor the traditions and dignity of the crown while forging a new path as a mother and supporter of causes she loved. She expressed surprise at the legal notice, describing it as a misunderstanding of matters that had been decided at the time of her children's birth. She emphasized her children's rights as descendants of the crown and her belief that their titles were granted in accordance with custom and precedent. Crucially, the letter did not provide any formal legal recognition. Meghan wrote that she was consulting with legal counsel to ensure full compliance while maintaining my responsibility as a mother to protect the identities of my children. The wording is meant to signal respect without conceding empathy without surrender. It also serves to buy time. By committing to consultation, Meghan can argue that any unapproved use is due to a lack of understanding rather than deliberate fraud. To support the open letter, the Sussexes' social media channels have posted a series of curated images. There are family photos from happier times, behind-the-scenes shots of Meghan volunteering with children's charities, and archived images of royal births from previous generations. The captions that accompany each image reinforce the theme of inheritance generation after generation, a legacy carried on a mother's promise. The posts focused on visual storytelling designed to generate viral sympathy and drown out headlines about title fraud. Meanwhile, Meghan's legal team prepared a targeted communications strategy. They arranged for two sympathetic media outlets, a leading U.S. women's magazine and a British digital platform known for its progressive commentary, to publish in-depth articles that would provide a deeper look at Meghan's perspective. Each article featured interview excerpts from a carefully selected journalist. The excerpts portrayed Meghan as respectful of the monarchy, but hurt by what she saw as a punitive legal response. One such article included the words, "I left the institution, but the institution never left me or my children." The intention was to frame the story as a confrontation between Meghan's heart and the cold machinery of the crown. Behind the scenes, however, tensions were running high. Some advisors warned that the inheritance argument was legally weak under the new law, which makes it clear that birth alone does not confer the right to use a title. Others warned that framing the issue as a private family matter risked alienating Parliament, whose support the Sussexes still need for any future negotiations over the role of their children. As the 14-day deadline approaches, Meghan faces mounting pressure. Every day brings new headlines parsing her open letter, speculating whether she will comply or defy it. Commentators debate whether the public will side with the underdog or an institution that prides itself on rules and traditions. Polling data leaked to the press shows a divided public. A significant portion of Americans support Meghan unconditionally, while a large portion of Britons back Parliament's tough stance. The most dramatic developments come on day 10 of the deadline. On that day, an excerpt from Meghan's upcoming memoir was published in a prestigious magazine. In it, she describes her wedding day as the moment I became part of something bigger than myself, bound by vows to serve a family and a country. She writes of the joy of holding her newborn daughter, believing that the crown would welcome her children as fully as it had welcomed her. The passage ends with the poignant line, "I still believe in that promise." The memoir excerpt was meant to reinforce Meghan's sincerity, but it also had unintended consequences. Legal experts point out that her own words acknowledging her oath to respect the monarchy could be used as evidence. This would show that she knew the rules of the crown and deliberately chose to use royal titles despite any doubts. Crown lawyers have quietly marked that passage in their internal case files. With just 2 days left until the deadline, the Sussexes face a crossroads. Should they issue a formal compliance notice, removing all references to royal titles from their platforms, or should they take a bolder approach and challenge the constitutionality of the law? One camp argued for immediate compliance, arguing that Meghan's public image could recover more quickly after an act of contrition. Another camp feared that compliance would be seen as a legal failure, undermining years of branding focused on autonomy and empowerment. Meghan eventually issued a second, more substantive statement on day 12. It began with an admission. In light of the recently enacted Protection and Integrity of Royal Titles Act, I have instructed my team to update all public documents and references to my children's titles. She stated her intention to complete the process within the next 48 hours, essentially extending the deadline by asking for leniency. She also noted her desire to work with palace officials to establish clear guidelines going forward. The announcement stunned many observers. It signaled that Meghan was willing to comply, but only on her own terms. She framed the move as a gesture of goodwill while still emphasizing her belief that the law was too broad and potentially harmful to her family. Critics called it a half measure and hypocritical. Supporters hailed it as a graceful compromise. In London, the Crown Prosecution Service (CPS) examined the statement. Officials noted that Meghan's pledge covered digital content and advertising, but did not address third-party use such as school records, trademark records, or documents from charity partners. The notice also lacked specific evidence that the removal had been completed. On day 14, the CPS issued a follow-up request which required detailed written evidence of compliance by the end of the day. Meghan's team raced to meet the request. By midnight, they had presented a list of more than 150 URLs, documents, and media assets that had had their title references removed. They also provided screenshots showing the before and after versions. They also provided letters from several UK-based charities confirming that they had updated their documents accordingly. Some prominent platforms, such as a major online bookstore, issued public corrections, removing the name Princess Lilibet from book descriptions. That night, the Sussexes breathed a sigh of relief. Meghan had complied, at least in the narrow sense the CPS meant, but the underlying conflict remained unresolved. While Parliament acknowledged compliance, it made it clear that it would remain vigilant. The new law has put Meghan Markle under intense scrutiny with the risk of being reinvestigated if she repeats the offense. After receiving formal notice, she has 14 days to remove all royal references from public platforms. Beneath the facade of compliance, Meghan's emotional media style clashes with Britain's strict legal system. Having to give up the right to use her title for personal purposes is a huge loss for her brand. When the deadline expires, the silence that replaced public response suggests that Meghan has been forced to bow to institutional pressure. Now the question is, can she continue to maintain the image she has built, or will she be reshaped by British law? This incident is pushing the relationship between the Sussexes and the British royal family to the brink of unprecedented tension. Will Meghan comply with Parliament's request or resist to the end? Is this just the beginning of a long legal battle? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to like the video, leave a sub to support the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next hot developments. Thank you for watching.